Chapter 844. The seal on the evil spirit island has been loosened, so it has caused some commotion. Howling Celestial Dog said casually, "It seems like a great treasure has emerged from the evil spirit island and caused some impact on the surface of this continent. I'm here to remind you that the great treasure is about to emerge. You have to be prepared. There are too many Star Realm warriors gathered here. With just my family, I am afraid that we cannot hope to snatch the great treasure." Xiaoling Yu said unhappily. "That is not necessarily true." Xiao Tianquan shook his head, and said, "If I am not wrong in the demon abyss, that great treasure should be the Tushita palace of that old man Taishan Laojun. It is not something that can be snatched by anyone with great strength. It depends on whether or not the Tushita palace acknowledges it. You have already obtained the Tai Chi diagram of the Tai Chi diagram, so naturally, you have a high chance of obtaining the Tushita palace. With so many Star Realm warriors watching, I am afraid that it will be difficult for us to even get close. They will not even give us a chance to obtain the Tushita palace's acknowledgement." Xiaoling Yu said with a bitter smile. "We can only act according to the circumstances, but we cannot give up so easily. How can we just watch as the great treasure left behind by the warriors of our Earth falls into the hands of other warriors?" Xiao Tianquan said. Xiaoling Yu nodded, and then asked, "There is already a problem with the seal on the evil spirit island. Does that mean that the evil spirit demon lord will be able to break out soon?" Xiao Tianquan smiled, and said, "How can it be that easy? The seal on the evil spirit island is extremely strong, and there are many high-grade treasures forming a seal formation. Only one treasure leaving the seal will not be able to cause much of a threat to the entire seal formation. According to my estimation, the evil spirit demon lord will not be able to come out for tens of millions of years. Is the evil spirit demon lord very strong?" Xiaoling Yu asked curiously. "If you want to say that he is very strong, then he has been sealed. If you want to say that he is not strong, then it is said that back then, in order to seal him, several extreme astral realm experts had lost their lives in the demon abyss. The peak experts of the world of immortals did not hesitate to use a large amount of extremely powerful magic treasures to seal him, instead of directly killing him." Howling Celestial Dog's words seemed to contradict itself. It then added, "Evil spirit demon lord's strength should not be below Sword Ancestor and that Hongjun old bastards. He might even be a bit stronger. These experts can't even be considered extreme Star Realm cultivators anymore, because even peak extreme Star Realm experts are very weak in front of them. Take my master for example. He is at the peak of the extreme Star Realm, and has the ability to move stars. But under that old bastard Hongjun's hands, he can't even last 3 moves before being defeated. Seems like there are even more powerful realms after the extreme Star Realm. It's just that there are too few cultivators who have reached that realm, and they are not willing to spread the cultivation method of that realm." Xiaoling Yu said. "It's not necessarily because they're selfish. Perhaps they don't even know what level they've reached. Or perhaps that level is too profound. Everyone can only rely on their own comprehension and luck to achieve a breakthrough. It's useless to rely on the teachings and guidance of other cultivators. Some realms are just like that. If you comprehend it, you can enter it. If you don't comprehend it, you can only linger outside the door of that realm forever." Howling Celestial Dog shook its head and explained. "Senior, you didn't encounter any danger in the demon abyss, right?" Xiaoling Yu asked, seemingly concerned. "I didn't encounter any danger, but I did encounter an old enemy. Fortunately, I ran quickly. Otherwise, it is very likely that I would have been beaten to death by that guy." Howling Celestial Dog said with lingering fear. "Could it be an expert at the peak of the extreme Star Realm?" Xiaoling Yu asked in surprise. "It's that damned monkey. He has long been at the peak of the extreme Star Realm. He used to have some conflicts with my master. In the past, he couldn't beat my master. After he was injured in the fight with my master, he was bitten by me. But that guy is a special existence born from the heavens and earth. His cultivation speed is extremely fast. He has long surpassed my master in terms of cultivation." Howling Celestial Dog said gloomily. Monkey? Could it be Sun Wukong, the great sage Sun? Xiaoling Yu asked curiously. It's that damned monkey. I clearly remember that guy going to the ancient star path. How did he appear in the demon abyss? Isn't the ancient star path said that one can only enter and not leave? Howling Celestial Dog was also a little confused. No matter what, the great sage Sun is a cultivator of our earth. It is a good thing that he can come back. We can understand the situation of the ancient star path through him. Xiaoling Yu said. I would rather go to the ancient star path and die than see that damned monkey. The celestial hound had a determined look on its face before it continued. I reckon that the reason why the Tushita Palace was able to leave the seal on the evil spirit island this time is most likely related to that damned monkey. Back then, he was very greedy for the pills in the Tushita Palace and would often sneak in. It's all thanks to that fellow's special talent. If an ordinary cultivator were to fearlessly consume the pills refined by the Grand Supreme Elder Lord like him, their bodies would have exploded long ago. Senior, are you leaving soon this time? Xiaoling Yu asked again. That damned monkey is nearby. With such a big commotion in the demon abyss, Jian Yi will probably come as well. I don't dare to stay here for too long. If I bump into them again, I might lose my life. Howling Celestial Dog continued, even if those two guys aren't nearby, I still have to do one last thing. After finishing this last thing, I can go to the ancient star path without worry. Where are you going this time? Xiaoling Yu asked. Deep in the heavenly star forest. Howling Celestial Dog looked distressed. He then said, that old bastard Hong Jun is too despicable. First, he sealed me for countless years. When I finally came out, I still have to go to dangerous places. Fortunately, the missions are not very difficult. However, I have a feeling that the old bastard Hong Jun made me do these things on purpose to mess up the world of immortals. Xiaoling Yu frowned. She did not understand what Howling Celestial Dog meant. Alright, I have to go. After I finish my business, I will come back to find you and remove the master relationship. After Howling Celestial Dog said this, it rushed out of the Shao clan's courtyard. It did not let Xiaoling Yu send it off. It ran out of the new city alone. Less than a year after Howling Celestial Dog left, the new city suddenly shook violently again. The shaking was even more violent than the last time. Fortunately, the people living in the city were all cultivators with decent cultivation bases. Their houses were built with exceptional sturdiness and were protected by layers upon layers of restrictive spells. Otherwise, with such a violent tremor, all the buildings in the city would have collapsed. The shaking lasted for a full 2 hours before it stopped. Xiaoling Yu, who was standing in the courtyard, saw a ray of light shooting up into the sky from the direction of the demon abyss. That ray of light was incomparably gorgeous. At the same time that it shot up into the sky, there was also a burst of bell ringing. That should be the Tushita Palace that the damned dog mentioned. Big Sister Boo said with narrowed eyes. Should we go over and take a look? Xiaoling Yu was a little undecided. Let's go. Why wouldn't we go? Not to mention how powerful the Tushita Palace is. Even if we can't get the Tushita Palace, if we can go in and take a look, we might have a great opportunity, Big Sister Boo replied. I'm just afraid that before we get the opportunity, we will lose our lives first. Xiaoling Yu smiled bitterly. Brother Xiao, you're too cautious. If I'm not wrong, that Taiji diagram has already been refined by you, right? With a Taiji diagram on you, it won't be easy for an ordinary astral extreme realm expert to kill you. Big Sister Boo said with a smile. I did refine it. Xiaoling Yu laughed dryly. Don't forget, we still have Ling. Big Sister Boo reminded again. Indeed, Linger's concealment ability was something that even a late-stage astral extreme realm expert like Howling Celestial Dog couldn't see through. It was indeed a great advantage to snatch the treasure. And so, Xiaoling Yu, Linger, and Big Sister Boo left the Shao clan's courtyard together. They left the city and headed towards the demon abyss at full speed. As for Myling, he had just entered the astral extreme realm. It wasn't suitable for him to go out and fight. Moreover, the Shao clan also needed an astral extreme realm expert to watch over them during this critical period. The demon abyss was located in the depths of the Immortals continent. Its entrance was a circular fire pit with a diameter of several thousand li. Black smoke billowed out of the fire pit all year round. When one approached the fire pit, not only would one feel waves of heat, there would also be waves of evil odor that assailed one's nostrils. Normally, cultivators wouldn't come near the fire pit. Moreover, the area around the fire pit was covered in either black or yellow sand. Not only was the cultivation environment extremely harsh, there wasn't even a single blade of grass or a drop of water to be found. However, at this time, there were many cultivators gathering in the sky above the fire pit. Above their heads, there was a dazzling multicolored light. If one looked carefully, one would discover that there was a palace-like building wrapped in multicolored light. Although there were countless experts looking at the multicolored light, no one dared to approach it. This was because there was a cultivator wearing a golden chainmail and a purple phoenix feather crown. He had a body full of thick brownish-yellow hair. He was using a staff of unknown color in his hand to fiercely knock on the palace's door. The palace's door looked extremely sturdy. In the middle of the two door leaves, there was a ball of yin and yang that continuously circulated, forming a protective barrier. Although it was continuously trembling from the knocking, it seemed like it could still hold on for a while. Perhaps it was because the palace's door hadn't opened yet, or perhaps it was because they were afraid of the strength of the staff-wielding cultivator. Therefore, everyone was watching from below, not daring to approach. Even the experts of the Four Peak Forces were frowning. When Shaolin Yu, Big Sister Gu, and Ling arrived, although the palace's door hadn't been blasted open, there were clearly a few cracks. "It really is Great Sage Sunday," Big Sister Gu said in surprise. From the way they addressed each other, Big Sister Gu respected Sun Wukong a lot more than Howling Celestial Dog. This shouldn't be just because Sun Wukong was stronger. Boom! After an earth-shattering explosion, the palace's door was finally blasted open. An incomparably powerful aura swept out, directly pushing Sun Wukong, who was standing at the palace's door, several feet away. Sun Wukong was only pushed a few feet away before he quickly stabilized his body. However, although the spectating cultivators were far from the palace's door, they were all pushed several hundred feet away by the powerful aura. Some Nirvana realm cultivators were even directly shaken to the point that their bodies collapsed. Many astral realm experts' faces were pale. It was the last day of the month. Those who had a gold medal should hurry up and sell it. After today, it would be useless. Chapter 845. Fortunately, Shaolin Yu's body was as tough as a mid-stage astral realm expert's. Although he and Big Sister Gu were also pushed back several hundred feet, their auras were only slightly disordered. As for Linger, she wasn't pushed away, but her body was exposed. The palace's door had already been blasted open. After the tyrannical aura swept past, Great Sage Sun leaped and flew in. After countless cultivators stabilized their bodies, they all leaped up and flew towards the palace's door. However, just as everyone flew to the door, Great Sage Sun, who had already entered the palace, suddenly flew out again. He swung the staff in his hand and swept it towards the experts who were rushing over. A crescent-shaped golden light whizzed out. In an instant, the dozens of Star Extremity experts who were near the door were all sent flying far away. There were even a few Star Extremity experts who were directly cut in half at the waist by the golden light. The two halves of their corpses fell from the sky, looking extremely frightening. "Before I, old son, come out, whoever dares to barge into the Tushita Palace will be killed without mercy." Great Sage Sun narrowed his eyes and looked around. His words were incomparably tyrannical, as if he was a king looking down on the world. Hearing these words, all the cultivators couldn't help but take a few steps back. Just one sentence was enough to intimidate countless astral realm experts. Even the experts from the Sword Pavilion who were carrying long swords on their backs didn't dare to take half a step forward. What kind of spirit was this? You cultivators from Earth have always been so tyrannical. Other cultivators don't like you, Big Sister Goose said with a bitter smile. They have the right to be tyrannical, Xiaoling Yu replied indifferently. It's just a pity. Back then, they were so glorious. Any one of them had the strength to sweep across the world. However, they all chose to go to the ancient path of stars after reaching the peak of the perfection realm. Over the countless years, the cultivators who have fallen the most on the ancient path of stars are the cultivators of your earth lineage. Big Sister Gu shook her head. Maybe there are no more challenges in the world of immortals. They are simply too bored, so they want to seek new breakthroughs, and find some excitement. Cultivators who climb to the peak often feel lonely and dull. Sooner or later, they will be overtaken by other cultivators. Only by constantly exploring will they be able to stay in the lead. Xiaoling Yu said emotionally. I'm sure that's not the reason. They knew the ancient path of stars was a dead end, yet they still charged forward without hesitation. It felt like they were being forced into a corner, or they were resisting unyieldingly, Big Sister Gu said. Xiaoling Yu didn't reply. Instead, she was thinking about Big Sister Gu's last words. Everyone, we have so many Star Realm experts. Why should we be afraid of this monkey? There must be a great treasure in the Tushita Palace. Everyone, let's kill our way in. It was unknown which expert had shouted out, but many of the Star Extremity experts surrounding the Tushita Palace once again charged towards the gates of the Tushita Palace. The experts from the Sword Pavilion were at the very front of the group. The ones charging in first are the experts from the 4 top forces. Big Sister Gu said. With the 4 top powers leading the charge, it was indeed quite effective. Immediately, dozens of extreme astral realm experts were spurred on, and everyone rushed towards the Tushita Palace. This time, Great Sage Sun didn't come out. Close to 100 Star Realm experts charged into the Tushita Palace in an instant. Rays of dazzling light continuously flashed from the gate of the Tushita Palace. There were also bursts of explosions. It seems like there's a lot of fighting going on inside. Big Sister Gu smiled and said, Great Sage Sun isn't an ordinary peak Star Realm expert. His Rui Jingu Bang is an innate spirit treasure. These guys are just looking for trouble. However, I feel like the 4 top forces aren't encouraging everyone to go in to fight Great Sage Sunday. They're just trying to take advantage of the situation. Then shouldn't we go in and take a look? Xiaoling Yu asked. No rush. Let's wait and see. Right now, it must be very chaotic inside. We aren't experts like Great Sage Sunday. If we get surrounded, I'm afraid our lives will be in danger. Big Sister Gu shook her head. I'll go in and take a look first. Linger said. No, Great Sage Sun's realm is too high. I'm afraid that your invisibility ability won't work in front of him. Big Sister Gu said kindly. Can he kill me? Linger asked. This? I can't say for sure. However, he can definitely shatter your body. Even if you can recover immediately, you'll still be injured. Big Sister Gu replied with uncertainty. Linger looked at Xiaoling Yu again. Xiaoling Yu shook her head at her. Just as the 3 of them were talking, figures flew out one after another. After they stabilized themselves, their faces were pale and they spat out mouthfuls of blood. There was even one expert who had just flown out when his body suddenly exploded into a cloud of bloody mist. The cultivators who were sent flying out didn't dare to charge in again. They all flew away quickly in the direction of the new city. It seemed like they were all seriously injured and were in a hurry to recover. It was unknown whether it was because Great Sage Sun had beaten it too hard or because the power of the battle inside was too strong. At this moment, the Tushita Palace was trembling violently. Cracks had already appeared on the extremely sturdy palace. However, Tushita Palace continued to shine with multicolored light, gradually mending the cracks. Let's not wait any longer. Let's go in and take a look. The experts inside must have locked their attacks on Great Sage Sunday. We might have a chance. Big Sister Gu had just finished speaking when she leaped towards the Tushita Palace's gate. Xiaoling Yu frowned slightly. Without hesitation, she followed closely behind Big Sister Gu. Halfway through, the wings of extreme speed appeared behind her. After that, Linger hid her body into nothingness. Inside Tushita Palace was a rather high-class alchemy hall. In the center of the hall, there was a tall and sturdy 8 trigrams cauldron. Flames flickered within the cauldron. At this moment, Great Sage Sun was standing on top of the 8 trigrams cauldron. He held the innate spiritual treasure Rui Jingu Bang in one hand and a medicine gourd in the other. From time to time, he would sweep the Rui Jingu Bang around his body. Occasionally, he would pour the medicine gourd into his mouth. What made Shaolin Yu incomparably surprised was that there were actually countless smaller Great Sage Suns waving their golden staffs, fighting against the astral extremity experts in the hall. Although the smaller Great Sage Suns were not as strong as Great Sage Sun himself, they were all very strong. Moreover, they were all valiant and unafraid of death. They were abnormally brave and fierce, beating the astral extremity experts in the hall to the point that they could only parry and had no chance to retaliate. Doppelganger technique? Shaolin Yu instantly thought of this mystique. No wonder the cultivators who were sent flying earlier did not come in. It turned out that there was no chance to fish in troubled waters. Almost every cultivator who came in would have to face one or even more Great Sage Sun doppelganger. The slightest carelessness would cause them to be injured or killed. They could only focus on defense. After Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Gu came in, 2 Great Sage Sun doppelganger immediately came to greet them. Shaolin Yu did not have time to react. She could only raise the Xianyuan sword to block above her head. Bang! The Xianyuan sword was unable to block the club and was directly smashed down, hitting Shaolin Yu's head fiercely. Shaolin Yu felt a burst of pain in her head. Her body involuntarily shrank a little, and she could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Even a very ordinary doppelganger of Great Sage Sun had the strength to injure Shaolin Yu in one move. If this club was personally smashed down by Great Sage Sun, it would probably have taken Shaolin Yu's life in an instant. As soon as the club passed, the doppelganger directly smashed the club again. Shaolin Yu had no choice but to open the vertical eye between her eyebrows and shoot out a destructive bloodlight to resist. The destructive bloodlight blasted on the club. Not only did it directly destroy the club, but it also destroyed the doppelganger. After the doppelganger was destroyed by the destructive bloodlight, it turned into a brownish-yellow monkey hair. The next moment, it flew back to Great Sage Sun. Great Sage Sun, who was happily swallowing pills on the 8 trigrams furnace, let out a strange cry. He looked in Shaolin Yu's direction. Shaolin Yu, who was on full alert, had already taken out the Taiji diagram. The yin-yang Taiji diagram floated above his head and slowly rotated. Waves of black and white light shone down, enveloping his body. Great Sage Sun first looked at Shaolin Yu's vertical eye between her eyebrows, then looked at the Xianyuan sword, and then looked at the Taiji diagram. His expression was very interesting. Big Sister Gu was already in a bitter battle. Like the other Xingji experts, she was also beaten hard by Great Sage Sun's doppelganger. That old man Taishan Laojun is too stingy. He actually left so few pills. Old son, spent so much effort to get this Tushita Palace out, but I can't eat my fill. Unlucky. Really unlucky. Great Sage Sun looked disappointed and said, I'm not going to play with you guys anymore. Fighting with you guys is really boring. As he spoke, Great Sage Sun scratched a handful of monkey hair from his body. He opened his mouth and suddenly blew. The handful of monkey hair floated out, and in the next moment, it turned into a large group of doppelgangers. Originally, everyone was just barely resisting. Now that there were so many doppelgangers, everyone suddenly felt the pressure increase. In an instant, more than half of the cultivators were sent flying, and a few died right next to the 8 trigrams furnace. Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Gu were not spared. They were sent flying together. Just as everyone flew out of the Tushita Palace, a continuously expanding staff directly caused the Tushita Palace to explode. The Tushita Palace exploded, and the impact of the aura was too strong. All the cultivators, including Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Gu, were all pushed tens of thousands of feet away. Linger was not pushed away this time. However, her body exploded while she was invisible. Fortunately, she had a special physique. After her body exploded into a cloud of transparent mist, it reformed in the next moment. In the next moment, Ling-Er, who had just recovered, became invisible again. Insignificant tricks. How dare you show off in front of Old Sun's fiery golden eyes? Great Sage Sun's eyes emitted a golden light. He scanned his surroundings, and the staff in his hand suddenly smashed into a spot in the void. The spot that was smashed into the void shook violently. Then, like glass that had been hit by a heavy blow, it shattered into pieces. Chapter 846. It seemed that Ling-Er's invisibility was almost useless under Great Sage Sun's fiery eyes of truth. But fortunately, Ling-Er had a special physique. Even if she suffered a heavy blow, after her body collapsed, she could quickly recover again. Moreover, her cultivation level would only drop after her body collapsed many times. When Ling-Er's body condensed again, Great Sage Sun also seemed a little surprised. He said, "This little girl is very strange. If her cultivation level can reach the astral pinnacle realm, won't she have an immortal and indestructible body?" Great Sage Sun first put away his doppelgangers, then suddenly stretched out his arm toward Ling-Er. His palm quickly expanded and then grabbed the void where Ling-Er was. Ling-Er immediately felt that the space around her had been sealed by an extremely strong force. She could no longer conceal herself, nor could she move at all. Cultivators often said that in the face of absolute power, any spell or ability was child's play. No matter how brilliant the opponent's method was, the opponent would break it with force. Old Sun's Jingu Bang can't do anything to you. I'll let you have a taste of the old lord's true Samadhi fire. Great Sage Sun waved his arm, and Ling-Er was directly thrown into the 8 trigrams furnace. After the Tushita Palace exploded, only the 8 trigrams furnace remained intact. The rest of the items were all shattered. Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu were not scared away by Great Sage Sun's power like the other cultivators. When they saw Ling-Er being thrown into the 8 trigrams furnace, Xiaoling Yu immediately exclaimed and then rushed forward without hesitation. "Boy, if you want to be a hero and save the beauty, you have to see if you have the ability to do so." Great Sage Sun waved the Rui Jingu Bang with one arm. With a light sweep, an extremely fierce aura swept Xiaoling Yu far away. Great Sage Sun didn't intend to hurt Xiaoling Yu. His strength was just right. He only forced Xiaoling Yu back and didn't hurt Xiaoling Yu at all. "Great Sage, that woman just now is my wife. I implore the Great Sage to spare my wife on account of the fact that we are both cultivators from Earth." Xiaoling Yu knew that he couldn't do anything to Great Sage Sun, so he could only cup his fists and beg. "If not for the fact that we are all from Earth, do you think you would have been able to walk out of the Tushita Palace just now? Even if you have the innate spirit treasure Taiji diagram and the Xianyuan sword, you're still a brat who hasn't even reached the extreme star realm. If I want to kill you, it'll only take a single thought." Great Sage Sun replied bluntly. "But my wife has never offended you, Great Sage. She hasn't even reached the extreme astral realm. Why would Great Sage make things difficult for a junior?" Xiaoling Yu braced himself and said, "Great Sage, it's not like you to make things difficult for your juniors. I remember that back in the day, Great Sage, you were constantly challenging experts. Even if you couldn't beat them, you would still fight. How heroic and admirable that was. If you make things difficult for a junior today, I'm afraid it will damage your reputation." Big Sister Gu also interjected, but it was mostly flattery. She seemed to understand Great Sage Sun's temper very well. Great Sage Sun seemed to be very pleased with Big Sister Gu's words. He smiled proudly and said, "Of course, I, Old Sun, won't bully the younger generation. Just now, I just wanted to test if that little girl has any other skills. I will let that little girl out now." After saying that, Great Sage Sun jumped up and flew to the top of the 8 trigrams furnace. Then, he reached into the furnace with one arm and actually fished Ling-Er out. Ling-Er looked unharmed, but after coming out, her cultivation fell from the Nirvana realm to the Nirvana realm. Xiaoling Yu was naturally a little angry. Just as she was about to go up and argue, Great Sage Sun had already said, the true samadhi fire is really powerful. It can actually make this little girl's cultivation fall so quickly. To make up for this little girl's loss, I'll give her the 8 trigrams furnace of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. Great Sage Sun's Rui Jingu Bang smashed onto the 8 trigrams furnace, causing it to fall beside Ling Er. Then, Great Sage Sun picked up his Jingu Bang and flew into the distance. In a moment, he had already disappeared. Quickly try to make the 8 trigrams furnace recognize you as its master. Big Sister Gu reminded Shaolin Yu. The reason why she didn't try first was that Big Sister Gu felt that since Shaolin Yu could obtain the Tai Chi diagram of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord, she should be able to get the 8 trigrams furnace's recognition. Shaolin Yu didn't dawdle. She immediately wrapped her power and soul power around the 8 trigrams furnace and tried to communicate with the 8 trigrams furnace's spirituality. The 8 trigrams furnace then reacted and released a flame that instantly enveloped Shaolin Yu's body. The chaotic nirvana true fire in Shaolin Yu's body then erupted uncontrollably and crazily attacked the flame outside. Before Shaolin Yu could react, the flame quietly retreated and the 8 trigrams furnace sank into her body. At this moment, Shaolin Yu felt that her chaotic nirvana true fire must have been recognized by the 8 trigrams furnace. That was why she could keep the 8 trigrams furnace. If her chaotic nirvana true fire hadn't been greatly improved after merging with the black and white fire spirits and had an extremely strong spirituality, she might not have been able to successfully obtain the 8 trigrams furnace this time. Because of Great Sage Sun's display of invincible might, the experts who had gathered earlier were all scared away. However, they didn't run far and were all observing the changes here from afar. They saw with their own eyes that the 8 trigrams furnace sank into Shaolin Yu's body and that Great Sage Sun had disappeared without a trace. Only then did they all attack again. This was also the reason why Big Sister Gu anxiously reminded Shaolin Yu just now. Once the 3 of them were surrounded here, except for Ling Er, no one would be able to escape. However, now that Shaolin Yu had successfully obtained the 8 trigrams furnace, there were many extreme Star Realm experts surrounding them. It was almost impossible for them to escape calmly. Big Sister Gu hesitated for a moment, then said in a deep voice, "Let's go. We'll go to the Devil Abyss Hell." Under Big Sister Gu's lead, Shaolin Yu and Ling Er quickly descended. In an instant, they fell deep into the ground and disappeared into the rolling black smoke and soaring flames at the entrance of the Devil Abyss Hell. Close to 20 extreme Star Realm experts flew over. They hesitated for a moment, then quickly descended as well. After descending a full 200,000 feet, Shaolin Yu and the other 2 finally reached the bottom of the huge pit. They could already be considered to be in the Devil Abyss Hell. The Devil Abyss Hell was an extremely vast world filled with dense black smoke. The ground was a layer of hard and scorching black rock. The endless black smoke here not only had a pungent smell, it was also extremely corrosive. It also greatly restricted the spiritual sense of cultivators. The reason why Big Sister Gu brought Shaolin Yu and Ling Er down here was to use the thick black smoke of the Devil Abyss Hell to shake off their opponents. After flying for a while in the Devil Abyss Hell and crossing several lava rivers, Big Sister Gu's expression finally relaxed. She smiled and said, "This 8 trigrams furnace should be more than enough to refine the Star Dome pill. It's a pity that Great Sage Sun is too greedy. Even if the Tushita Palace had extreme star pills, he would have eaten them all." Shaolin Yu said with some disappointment. "I hope I can see the Great Sage again in the future and ask him about the ancient Star Road." Big Sister Gu said with anticipation. "He wouldn't be the same as Senior Shao Tian, going around the world of immortals a few times before returning to the ancient Star Road, right?" Shaolin Yu asked. How would I know? But I don't think so. The Great Sage's temper is different from other experts. He likes to be straightforward. His thinking is relatively simple. He doesn't have too many worries and doesn't have any ideas. He prefers to live a peaceful life. He likes people to praise him. He hates being schemed against the most. This time, he came back from the ancient Star Road not because he's afraid of the dangers of the ancient Star Road, but because he doesn't like it there. Big Sister Gu shook her head and smiled. That really scared me. If he had saved Ling Er a little later, I'm afraid that Ling Er would have died in the 8 trigrams furnace. Xiaoling Yu said with lingering fear. As long as you didn't make the great sage act stubborn, he wouldn't have killed Ling Er. He must be really curious about Ling Er's special body. Big Sister Gu explained. How are we going to leave this place? Xiaoling Yu asked. It's very simple. We'll hide here for a while. When they're sure that they can't find us and lose their patience, they'll naturally leave. It won't be too late for us to leave then. Big Sister Gu said casually. But our Xiao family is still in the new city. Xiaoling Yu said worriedly. Don't worry, as long as our family members don't come out to cause trouble and don't leave the new city, there won't be any problems in the Xiao family's courtyard. What kind of existence are the 4 great powers? They won't disregard their family's reputation just for a treasure. They've been in the Immortals' mainland for many years and have been powerful for many years. They don't lack treasures. A single treasure won't be able to threaten them. They'll definitely break the rules of the new city. Big Sister Gu comforted, they'll attack us when they're outside. As long as we're in the new city, they'll give up on hunting us down. Now that the Great Sage has returned from the ancient Star Road, their biggest headache is the Great Sage. Most of their attention will be placed on the Great Sage. Now that the materials are ready, and we have an excellent alchemy furnace like the 8 trigrams furnace, we can prepare to refine the Star Dome pill. Xiaoling Yu said. Although this 8 trigrams furnace is good, it has already recognized you as its master. That's why the task of refining the Star Dome pill will still fall on your shoulders. Big Sister Gu continued, but your alchemy skills are really not that good. That's why I'll have to do my best to help you improve your alchemy skills. Fortunately, your forbid dance skills are very high. In addition, there are endless materials for you to practice. I think it won't be too difficult for you to become an alchemy expert. In the following days, the 3 of them continuously flew through the demonic abyss. Big Sister Gu imparted the alchemy techniques she mastered to Xiaoling Yu. Big Sister Gu had never been to the demonic abyss before. The 3 of them were only here to take refuge. They didn't have any other intentions. That's why they flew very casually. The environment of the demonic abyss was extremely vile. However, it was also very deathly silent. This used to be a place where countless demons lived. However, after the experts of the Immortals world joined hands to clean up this place several times, all the demons were wiped out. After their deaths, their evil spirits and resentment gradually gathered. After many years, they formed the evil spirits of today. Chapter 847. There weren't many evil spirits in the Devil Abyss, and they were usually gathered together. It wasn't easy to encounter them. Xiaoling Yu and the other 2 had been in the Devil Abyss for dozens of years, and they finally encountered a group of evil spirits. These evil spirits were like illusionary spirits. They didn't have a fixed shape. They were all different, and their bodies were almost transparent. However, the transparent bodies of illusionary spirits didn't have any color. The evil spirits were either scarlet red, or their bodies were suffused with black light. The illusionary spirits were very timid, but the evil spirits were very bold and cruel. When they encountered cultivators, the evil spirits would rush forward and fight the cultivators to death. It was as if they still remembered the hatred they had with the cultivators of the world of immortals. The evil spirits that Xiaoling Yu and the other 2 encountered were the same. When they encountered Xiaoling Yu and the other 2, the thousands of evil spirits rushed forward without thinking. Fortunately, there weren't any astral realm experts among this group of evil spirits. Moreover, they couldn't immediately reform after their bodies collapsed like the illusionary spirits. Xiaoling Yu had the Taiji diagram above her head and the Xianyuan sword in her hand. Her chaotic nirvana true fire shone incessantly. Not only was her attack powerful, but her defense wasn't weak either. She and Big Sister Gu killed their way into the group of evil spirits. Like a fierce tiger entering a flock of sheep, the evil spirits looked fierce, but they could only be slaughtered. Every time the Xianyuan sword swept out, A large area of sword light condensed from the chaotic origin force could instantly clear away the evil spirits within 100 feet of Xiaoling Yu. Big Sister Gu's forbidden formation seal and her starlight extreme fire could also cause a large number of evil spirits to collapse. The bodies of the evil spirits that were killed would crumble and turn into crimson or black mist. Linger had been following behind Big Sister Gu and Xiaoling Yu. She didn't attack, but she felt that the mist that the evil spirits turned into after they died was useful to her. Therefore, she opened her mouth from time to swallow it. Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu used less than 100 breaths to kill over 1,000 evil spirits that weren't even at the astral realm. More than half of the mist left behind by the evil spirits had been absorbed by Linger. What surprised Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu was that Linger's cultivation had returned to the true Nirvana realm. Although these evil spirits are formed from the remnant souls and resentment of demons after their deaths, they still need years of spiritual cultivation to form. Moreover, they also have the characteristics of transforming themselves. It's reasonable that Linger can devour them to improve her cultivation, Big Sister Gu said with relief. It's just that I feel like I need some time to refine the evil spirit after I devour it. The resentment and hatred it contains is too strong. If I don't get rid of it, I'll lose my mind in the long run, Linger said calmly. Then don't devour unscrupulously. Every time you devour, use a period of time to refine it before devouring again. Big Sister Gu advised, then smiled and said, "It seems like it's not a bad thing that we're stuck here this time." Linger's devouring ability was extremely strong. She could devour over 1,000 evil spirits in a short period of time. However, her refining ability was relatively weak. The three of them wandered around the demonic abyss for another 200 years before she finally finished refining everything that she had devoured. During this time, they didn't encounter any astral realm experts chasing after them. However, they did encounter quite a few evil spirits. They didn't know when the battle would start. Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu's consumption wasn't small. However, with the help of the light green liquid and countless precious materials and pills, it wasn't a problem for them to endure for a long time. We should try to find a few astral realm evil spirits. Perhaps they can help Linger directly reach the astral realm, Big Sister Gu said. There were many evil spirits in the demonic abyss. It wasn't difficult to find ordinary evil spirits, but it was very difficult to find astral realm evil spirits. After another 200 years, the three of them still encountered ordinary evil spirits. Just as the three of them were about to give up, they were about to return and leave the demonic abyss through the exit when they unexpectedly encountered an astral realm expert. This astral realm expert had also chased after them from above. He carried a long sword on his back, and sword aura constantly flowed around his body, preventing the rolling black smoke in the demonic abyss from getting within 30 meters of him. "Oh no, it's an expert from the sword pavilion!" Big Sister Gu exclaimed softly. Then, she quickly turned around with Xiaoling Yu and Linger, wanting to escape quickly. However, the sword pavilion expert snorted coldly and sped up, blocking in front of the three of them as fast as lightning. "Since I, Sword 4, have seen you, do you still think you can escape?" The sword pavilion expert appeared to be very confident. He looked at Xiaoling Yu and the others with a mocking expression, then said, "Hand over the 8 trigrams furnace, and I'll let you live." Big Sister Gu could see that Sword 4 was also in the middle astral realm. However, he was a sword cultivator, and his attack power was very strong. In addition, he was the disciple of the Sword Ancestor, one of the top experts in the realm of immortals. His strength was naturally very strong. This Sword 4 might be able to fight against a late astral realm expert like the Howling Celestial Dog. Ordinary middle astral realm cultivators would find it very difficult to last more than 3 moves under Sword 4's sword. The Sword Ancestor was so powerful back then. I didn't expect his disciple to be greedy for worldly possessions. Didn't you Sword Pavilion claim to only cultivate the way of the sword and not care about anything other than swords? Big Sister Gu sneered and questioned. "We don't care about ordinary treasures. However, this 8 trigrams furnace is different. We sword cultivators sometimes need medicinal pills to help with our cultivation, and this 8 trigrams furnace is the best choice for refining supreme and peerless medicinal pills. Even sword cultivators would be tempted. Sword 4 shook his head and said, "To be honest, this 8 trigrams furnace was given to us by the great Saint Sunday. If you Sword Pavilion snatch it by force, I'm afraid you'll make the great saint unhappy. If the great saint attacks Sword Pavilion because of this, you won't have an easy time." Big Sister Goose said again, "Don't scare me with that monkey. Let's not talk about whether he gave you the 8 trigrams furnace or not. Even if he did, he might not necessarily make things difficult for the Sword Pavilion," Sword 4 said indifferently. "How about this? We need this 8 trigrams furnace. After we use it, we'll send it to Sword Pavilion. How about it?" Big Sister Goose suggested. "If you don't send it to Sword Pavilion after you use it and find a place to hide, what can Sword Pavilion do?" Sword 4 obviously disagreed with Big Sister Goose's suggestion. "It's indeed difficult if you don't trust us," Big Sister Goo replied. "What's so difficult about it? If you don't give it to me now, I'll just take it by force. Do you think I can't do anything to you?" As Sword 4 spoke, he was already holding a long sword in his hand. Waves of powerful sword essence fluctuated like a hurricane, dispersing the black smoke in the surrounding thousands of feet. "Then we'll have to ask for your advice," Big Sister Goose said fearlessly. "You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit." Sword 4 narrowed his eyes and shook the long sword in his hand. Countless sword gleams appear out of thin air in the surrounding thousands of feet. The sword gleams condensed into small light swords. The tips of the swords pointed at Shaolin Yu and the other 2. "Heaven Sword Technique, 10 Ultimate!" Sword 4 shouted, and the countless small light swords gathered together rapidly. In an instant, they turned into 10 huge light swords that exuded a vast and mighty sword aura. At this moment, Shaolin Yu was on full alert. She used the Taiji diagram and Xianyuan sword again. All the power in her body also surged into the Heaven's Eye of Destruction between her eyebrows. Big Sister Goo's body swayed, and a colorful pearl armor embroidered with phoenixes and dragons appeared on her body. A long whip also appeared in her hand. Ever since she met Big Sister Goo, this was the first time Shaolin Yu saw her fully armed in battle. It seemed that she was going to fight with all her strength. This also showed that she was very wary of Sword 4's Heaven Sword technique. As for Linger, she had already concealed herself. Great Sage Sun could break through and see through Linger's invisibility, but this Sword 4 was only in the middle stage of Astral Realm. He definitely couldn't do anything to Linger's invisibility. "You still want to resist? How stubborn!" Sword 4's face was full of disdain. He waved his arm, and the 10 light swords moved with a whistling sound. They had already sealed off all directions. With waves of fierce and mighty sword aura, they respectively shot toward Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Goo with a violent sword aura that could destroy all things. Sword 4 couldn't see Linger, and his divine telekinesis couldn't lock onto her. Therefore, he couldn't attack Linger. Therefore, he had to focus his attacks first and eliminate Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Goo. "Ha!" Big Sister Goo shouted loudly, and the long whip in her hand was flung out. What was surprising was that the long whip was like a coiling viper at the beginning, but in the blink of an eye, as it continued to expand, it transformed into 8 long purple-gold dragons. The 8 purple-gold dragons were vivid and lifelike, emitting a mighty dragon's aura. They each pounced toward a light sword. It was very obvious that Shaolin Yu had to deal with the other 2 light swords. Shaolin Yu wasn't afraid at all. The heavenly eye between his brows suddenly opened, and a destructive blood-red light blasted toward one of the light swords. Then, he unleashed a seal of chaos, and swung the Xianyuan sword toward the last light sword. Boom, boom, boom. The space and the abyss of demons shook, and the mountains shook. Gorgeous flowing lights bloomed together like fireworks in the dark night. Although the 8 purple-gold dragons defeated the 8 light swords, they exploded at the same time and turned back into the long whip, which was held in Big Sister Goo's hand. The heavenly eye of destruction didn't disappoint Shaolin Yu. It also defeated a light sword. Although the Seal of Chaos only weakened half of the light sword's power, the light sword that only had half of its power left was split apart by the Xianyuan sword. The swords that sputtered out blasted the black and white light screen projected by the Tai Chi diagram. Naturally, it couldn't break through. At this moment, before Sword 4 could react, a thick nebula fog suddenly appeared and quickly enveloped the entire area. Linger, who had silently moved to Sword 4's side, suddenly appeared behind him and opened her netherworld heavenly eye toward him. Sword 4 was just about to cast a spell to disperse the nebula fog around him when he felt a strong suction force acting on him from behind. He snorted coldly and swept the long sword in his hand behind him. The long sword wasn't long and couldn't attack Linger, who was hundreds of feet away. However, the long sword shot out a large amount of sharp sword light and instantly cut Linger in half. Linger's body didn't collapse immediately. After the sword light pierced through her body, she quickly recovered and continued to use her netherworld heavenly eye to devour Sword 4. Chapter 848. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Big Sister Gu pulled out her long whip again. 8 purple gold dragons pounced towards Sword 4 with bared fangs and brandished claws. Xiaoling Yu first made the light screen cast by the Taiji diagram thicker. Then, he braced himself and swung the Xianyuan sword in the air. Sword 4 did not attack Linger again. While resisting the powerful devouring power of the netherworld heavenly eye, he swung the long sword in his hand and slashed horizontally. With one slash, thousands of sword rays appeared and quickly gathered into a crescent-shaped sword ray. A sword cultivator's attack was indeed powerful. Sword 4's sword ray slashed horizontally and instantly destroyed the 8 purple gold dragons. At this moment, Sword 4 quickly placed his long sword above his head. First, he blocked the Xianyuan sword's attack. Then, Sword 4 suddenly raised the long sword vertically and slashed down. The blade of the long sword was extremely sharp. It directly cut through the light screen cast by the Taiji diagram. Xiaoling Yu did not have time to retreat. The blade left a foot-long wound on his chest. Blood gushed out in an instant. When the blade pierced his body, waves of sword energy overflowed, causing Xiaoling Yu's body to be unable to heal the wound in a short time. The sword energy that surged out of the long sword pushed Xiaoling Yu hundreds of feet away. Although the nebula fog enveloped the entire area, Sword 4's battle awareness was extremely high. Even if he could not see his opponent clearly, he could still determine his opponent's position based on his experience. Close combat with a sword cultivator with powerful attack power was not a wise choice at all. If it were not for Linger restricting Sword 4's attack, if it were not for the Taiji diagram's extremely strong defensive power, Sword 4's slash would probably have directly split Xiaoling Yu's body into 2 halves from head to toe. After all, Xiaoling Yu was not an astral extremity expert. Even with powerful magic treasures like the Taiji diagram and the Xianyuan sword, he could not unleash too much power. Big Sister Gu's attack was very coherent. As soon as the 8 purple gold dragons were defeated, the long whip in her hand suddenly straightened. Like a sharp arrow, it shot toward Sword 4's chest. Sword 4 had just changed his move to injure Xiaoling Yu. It was already too late for him to change his move to block the long whip's attack. His state was weakened by more than 30%. Then, the long whip hit his chest. He could not help but take a few steps back. He even spat a mouthful of blood. Although Big Sister Gu was in the astral extremity middle stage, she was not an ordinary astral extremity cultivator. Even if her combat power was not as strong as Sword 4's, it was not by much. Now that Sword 4's condition had been weakened by 30%, his ability would not be much stronger than Big Sister Gu's. On top of that, Xiaoling Yu was beside him. It was naturally extremely difficult for Sword 4 to win. The reason why it was like this was because of Linger and her netherworld heavenly eye. Sword 4 also realized this. However, just as he was about to attack Linger, Xiaoling Yu, who had already drunk a small bottle of light green liquid, and Big Sister Gu, who was in peak condition, attacked again. Sword 4's mind moved. A simple armor appeared on his body. He endured Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu's attacks and swept his long sword toward Linger, who was behind him. Linger used the netherworld heavenly eye with all her strength. She could not move her body by a large margin. She could not dodge Sword 4's attack at all. She did not dodge and stood in place to take it. Linger was once again swept by the sword light, and her body was pierced by the sword light. However, her body only trembled slightly, and once again returned to normal. The powerful devouring power of the netherworld heavenly eye was still working on Sword 4. In order to attack Linger, Sword 4 was hit by Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu again. The armor on his body seemed sturdy, but after taking a wave of attacks, it already had cracks. The armor's defense could only reduce a part of the attack power. The other part would affect Sword 4's body, worsening his injuries. He was only at 70% of his strength. Now that he was injured, Sword 4 could only use 60% of his combat power. Only now did Sword 4 realize that he seemed to have underestimated his opponents. These three cultivators were not as easy to deal with as they seemed. He already had thoughts of retreating. However, it wouldn't be easy for him to escape either. As a powerful sword cultivator, Sword 4 was the same as the other sword cultivators. He wholeheartedly studied the Tao of the sword. The magic treasure he wielded was only a high-grade sword and a suit of armor that he would not normally use. Additionally, the cultivation technique he cultivated was only the heavenly sword formula. Sword cultivators had only one method of attack. However, it was also because they were obsessed with this single method for countless years that their single method was so powerful. Usually, they could kill their enemies with one move. However, at Sword 4's level of cultivation, which cultivator did not have a method to save his life? Sword 4 realized that it was difficult to win this battle. He also realized that he could not escape under the restriction of the netherworld heavenly eye. He made up his mind and tore off the sword-shaped jade piece hanging around his neck. He then crushed it. After the sword-shaped jade piece was crushed, it first turned into flowing lights that filled the sky. Then, those flowing lights all gathered around his body and turned into a light sword that was 3 feet tall and more than 3 feet wide. A terrifying wave of sword force swept out in all directions like a hurricane. It directly cut off the devouring power of the netherworld heavenly eye and also pushed Xiaoling Yu, Big Sister Gu, and Linger several thousand feet away. Big Sister Gu was shocked. She did not know what kind of big move Sword 4 had used. However, she felt that the aura pouring out of Sword 4's body at this moment was too strong. It was not something that she and Xiaoling Yu could deal with. Therefore, she also used a life-saving trump card. A talisman paper that was overflowing with silver light appeared in Big Sister Gu's hand. She poured some power into it and the talisman paper suddenly exploded. A silver light enveloped Big Sister Gu and Xiaoling Yu, who was not far from her. Then, with a flash of silver light, Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu disappeared on the spot. To Linger's surprise, the light sword that enveloped Sword 4 also turned into a flowing light and disappeared without a trace after a slight tremble. At the end of the battle, the strong cultivators from both sides actually chose to escape using life-saving methods. The trump card that Sword 4 used was a sword spirit that his master, the Sword Master, left behind before he went to the ancient starry sky path. Big Sister Gu used an extremely high-quality teleportation talisman that her husband left behind. Sword 4 was originally prepared to escape. However, before he escaped, he saw with his own eyes that his two strong opponents had escaped first. This made him very depressed. After one teleportation, Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu were still in the abyss of demons. However, they were in the depths of a sea of magma and fire. They scanned their surroundings. Not far from the two of them, there was a pitch-black island. It looked dark and dense. The two of them had just looked around when evil spirits surged over from the direction of the Black Island like a tide. Oh no, there are many extreme Star Realm evil spirits. Retreat. Big Sister Gu hurriedly used her power to wrap around Xiaoling Yu, who had yet to recover, and quickly retreated. Big Sister Gu was in charge of retreating. Xiaoling Yu was constantly forming the primal chaos seal that had fused with the illusory sky forbidden array, bombarding the evil spirits that were pouncing over from the direction of the island. Primal Chaos Seal, Primal Chaos Sword Light, Primal Chaos Nirvana True Fire, Destructive Bloodlight. Under Shaolin Yu's various bombardments, large numbers of evil spirits were constantly blown to smithereens. Even those extreme Star Realm evil spirits were greatly reduced in speed. Big Sister Gu flew at full speed for 4 hours. Only then did the evil spirits retreat and stop chasing. It seemed that they were only defending a certain area. There are so many evil spirits near that island. There are also many extreme Star Realm evil spirits. I reckon that is the legendary Evil Spirit Island, Big Sister Gu said. I'm more concerned about Linger's current situation, Shaolin Yu said with a frown. Don't worry. Linger will be fine. Let's go. Linger will stop using the Netherworld Heavenly Eye's divine ability and directly become invisible. Although that Sword 4 used a secret technique to increase his strength, there's no way he's at Great Sage Sun's level. He can't do anything to Linger, Big Sister Gu comforted. But how do we find Linger? Shaolin Yu asked. There's no need to find her. If Linger can't find us, she'll return to the courtyard of the new city to wait. Actually, without us, Linger is safer, Big Sister Gu shook her head and said. What I'm worried about is that she won't go home. Instead, she'll stay in the demonic abyss to look for us, Shaolin Yu said with a bitter smile. He knew Linger too well. If she couldn't be sure of his safety, Linger wouldn't leave the demonic abyss so easily. So what if she's in the demonic abyss? No one can do anything to Linger. It's impossible for these simple-minded evil spirits to hurt Linger. Big Sister Gu looked very relaxed. She continued, there are quite a few extreme Star Realm evil spirits here. If Linger can find this place, we can work together to kill a few extreme Star Realm evil spirits. Maybe Linger can directly advance to the extreme Star Realm. She'll definitely be able to find us. She's very perceptive. We're all people she's very familiar with. She's very sensitive to our presence. As long as we move around more and leave more of our presence, she'll be able to find us, Shaolin Yu said. After that, it was still Big Sister Gu who led Shaolin Yu forward. Shaolin Yu used a light green liquid and high-quality pills to recover from her injuries. Wherever the two went, they didn't hide their presence at all. They even purposely left some special formations to guide Linger. After Shaolin Yu's injuries were healed, the two found a small island and set up an extremely powerful killing formation on it. After waiting for almost 300 years, Linger finally found this place. After the three of them met up, Big Sister Gu first let Linger rest for a while. Then, she said to Linger, let's go to the Evil Spirit Island and attract the extreme Star Realm evil spirits here. As long as those evil spirits enter this formation, only death awaits them. Big Sister Gu led Linger to the Evil Spirit Island, while Shaolin Yu guarded the island and maintained the formation. After 4 hours, Big Sister Gu and Linger returned. Behind them was a large group of evil spirits. Big Sister Gu and Linger directly flew over the island. The formation didn't stop them. Those evil spirits didn't discover the formation on the island and also flew over the island. Shaolin Yu saw the opportunity and struck out the hand seals that she had prepared beforehand. Instantly, the wind and clouds surged on the island. Flames flashed and thunder rumbled. Big Sister Gu and Linger saw that the formation was beginning to show its power and turned around. Big Sister Gu helped Shaolin Yu maintain the formation, while Linger directly rushed into the formation and waited for an opportunity to act. Chapter 849. The Forbidden Formation was extremely powerful, and those evil spirits didn't have any intelligence to speak of. After entering the formation, they were all like headless flies, running around in the nebula fog. Naturally, they couldn't pose any threat to the Forbidden Formation, and could only take on the attacks of the Forbidden Formation. Under the attacks of the Forbidden Formation's lightning and fire serpents, the evil spirits' bodies exploded into clouds of red or black mist, which were then devoured by Linger. In less than 100 breaths of time, all the evil spirits below the extreme Star Realm that entered the Forbidden Formation were killed. At this moment, only 2 extreme Star Realm evil spirits were still bitterly holding on. I'll go in and help Linger. After Big Sister Gu said this, she leaped into the forbidden array and charged into it. Xiao Yu controlled the formation to support Big Sister Gu's attacks, making it even harder for the two evil spirits to hold on. After another cup of tea's time, the two extreme Star Realm evil spirits were both killed. Linger had been waiting for a long time. She took the opportunity and decisively devoured them. The mist of the two extreme Star Realm evil spirits quickly sank into her mouth. However, the extreme Star Realm evil spirits were relatively strong. Linger was only in the Nirvana realm after all. She devoured two extreme Star Realm evil spirits at once, and seemed to be having a hard time. Her body occasionally shone with red light, and occasionally shone with black light. Big Sister Gu frowned slightly. After muttering to herself for a moment, she continuously formed hand seals and slapped them on Linger's body. After nearly a month, she finally stopped, and Linger's body no longer shone with red or black light. Looking at Big Sister Gu's sweaty forehead and haggard appearance, one could guess that she must have used up a lot of energy. However, although Linger's body no longer shone with a strange light, her entire body was constantly changing between solid and illusory. It still looked very strange. "Linger, are you all right?" Big Sister Gu wiped the sweat from her forehead and asked with concern. "I'm fine. However, I can't use any abilities right now, and I feel very weak," Linger replied. "Maybe it's because you have to go through a stage of advancement. I think you'll be fine after a while. It could also be that you're lacking some necessary support for your advancement. If that's the case, then it's quite dangerous. If you can't fulfill that condition in a short period of time, it could be very troublesome," said Big Sister Gu with a frown. "I hope it's the former," Xiao Yu said. "But I think it's the latter." Although Linger said so, her expression was still very calm. "If we were to talk about what you lack, it would be your cultivation level." Although those evil spirits were at the extreme Star Realm, they were formed from hatred and resentment. Their true cultivation level should not be that high. Big Sister Gu thought about it again and said with difficulty, "But your physique is too special. How can I help you increase your realm? The pellets won't be of much use to you, and I'm afraid those cultivation materials won't be of much use to you either. In a short time, it will be very difficult for us to find an extreme Star Realm phantom spirit for you to devour. That doesn't seem right. What I lack is not my realm." Linger shook her head and said, "For my cultivation, I've always only needed to devour phantom spirits. I don't have to worry about my realm. The reason for this is not that I've digested and accepted the realms of those phantom spirits. It's because I don't need realms at all. Because of my special physique, I can improve very quickly, but my combat power is not high. I can't use any powerful techniques or spells. The pellets that you can take are useless to me, and the treasures that you can use are useless to me. This is because of my special physique. My advantages are very obvious, but my weaknesses are also very obvious. This is a kind of balance. If you don't lack realms, then what do you lack?" asked Big Sister Gu with great curiosity. "It should be a kind of transformation." Linger then explained, "All this time, I've been a kind of anomaly among the phantom spirits, but I'm not a real phantom spirit, and I can't be considered the original illusory spirit grass. This time, after devouring two extreme Star Realm evil spirits, I've reached a critical point. If I want to break through this critical point, I must transform into a real life form, and have a suitable technique to help me control my own power." "That seems to be the case." Big Sister Gu nodded. She understood Linger's meaning. It shouldn't be difficult to transform into a real life form. You have an extremely high spiritual intelligence, and your original illusory spirit grass is also a life form. It's just that because you've devoured too many phantom spirits for a long time, your life force has become weak. You should be able to complete this transformation if you devour more things that contain rich life force." Xiao Yu thought for a moment, then said, "As for techniques, I think you should have gained something when you were cultivating in the chaos spectrum. There's no problem with the cultivation technique. I've seen many powerful cultivation techniques. Even if I can't create a powerful cultivation technique for myself, I can create a simple cultivation technique to cultivate first. Linger nodded. Xiaoling Yu then took out many large bottles. These bottles were filled with a light green liquid. Linger had obtained this liquid when he was adventuring in the outer sea of Gourd Bay. This liquid should be the most suitable for Linger, Big Sister Gu said. They then found an island far away from Evil Spirit Island. In a secluded place on the island, they carved out a temporary cave. In the cave, Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu discussed for a long time. Then, they took out the large jade bathtub that he had been using to transform his body. He took out materials one by one, melted them in the chaotic nirvana true fire, and threw them into the bathtub. The bathtub was already filled with the light green liquid. Xiaoling Yu was very experienced when it came to body transformation. In addition, he had the guidance of the alchemy expert Big Sister Gu. It was not difficult to concoct a medicinal soup suitable for Linger. After all, Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu had a rich collection of storage magic treasures. After the medicinal soup was concocted, Xiaoling Yu asked Linger to take off her clothes and submerge her body in the medicinal soup in the bathtub. As soon as Linger entered the bathtub began to steam. The medicinal soup in the bathtub began to boil. In just a few seconds, the medicinal soup gradually became clear. Big Sister Gu hurriedly reminded Xiaoling Yu, she absorbed it too quickly. Continue to add more medicinal soup. Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu reacted quickly. The two of them refined the materials at the same time and continuously poured the light green liquid into the bathtub. This was repeated more than 10 times. The light green liquid was half consumed. Linger then stretched out a smooth jade-like arm from the bathtub. She waved it lightly, indicating that Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu could stop. Soon, the medicinal soup completely turned into a basin of clear water. Linger's flawless body was clearly presented in front of Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu. You're really lucky, Big Sister Gu said to Xiaoling Yu as she looked at Linger's delicate body that seemed to be carved from fine jade. Indeed, Linger's beauty was unparalleled. However, in the past, she exuded an ethereal beauty. She was so beautiful that it made people feel as if they were dreaming. However, after her body transformed, her beauty did not fade at all. Instead, it was more lively and real. To be able to become such a woman's husband was indeed extremely lucky. Looking at Linger's rosy white body that was emitting a faint glow, Xiaoling Yu could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Splash! Linger stood up from the bathtub. Sparkling water droplets dripped down one by one. It was as if her smooth skin did not have any resistance at all. With a thought, a slightly loose blue robe appeared on Linger's body. Her beautiful hair draped over her shoulders like a waterfall and fell to her hips. At this moment, steam was rising from her body in spirals. She really did look like a beauty who had just come out of the bath. Congratulations, congratulations. Little Sister Linger's transformation will definitely make her even more powerful in the future. Big Sister Gu grabbed Linger's small hand and said happily. I still have to thank Big Sister for your help. Linger finally smiled. Moreover, her smile was very warm and sincere. If Big Sister Gu was not present, if they were not in the abyss of demons, Xiaoling Yu really wanted to pounce on Linger and make love to her. He wanted to see if there was any difference between her and before. He did not need to try to know that when he made love with Linger in the past, he always felt that Linger was not in the right state. It was as if she could not enter that state at all. This made Xiaoling Yu feel very awkward. It was difficult for him to fully enjoy himself. Now, that kind of situation would definitely not happen again. Why do you have such a perverted look in your eyes? Big Sister Gu teased Xiaoling Yu. Xiaoling Yu scratched her head awkwardly. Her face was full of embarrassment. Let me see if I can cultivate this technique that I came up with in my free time. Linger then sat down cross-legged and silently circulated the technique. After 3 days, she opened her beautiful eyes and said happily, it can be cultivated. It's just that there are many areas that need to be improved. That's good, Big Sister Gu said. Do we still have to go to Evil Spirit Island? Linger asked. Why do we have to go to Evil Spirit Island again? Xiaoling Yu asked in confusion. Last time, when we went to Evil Spirit Island to attract extreme astral evil spirits, we saw an extreme astral lightning spirit near the island. I want to capture it. Whether it's for Linger to devour or to trap it in a treasure, it will be very useful, Big Sister Gu explained. Oh. Xiaoling Yu nodded first, then said, that lightning spirit should have been stolen by Xiao Tian from Heaven's Thunder Peak. It might be very useful. If we capture it, I'm afraid it's not good, right? What's not good about it? That damn dog stole the lightning spirit most likely to break the seal on Evil Spirit Island and release the evil spirit demon lord. If we capture the lightning spirit, it will be a good thing for the world of immortals, Big Sister Gu said. The reason why Xiao Tian is doing this is also because of Hong Jun ancestors' guidance. I think that lightning spirit really has other uses, Xiaoling Yu said. That lightning spirit is at extreme astral realm. Its divine ability is not weak. We might not be able to capture it. Let's try first. If we really can't capture it, then forget it, Big Sister Gu said. Thus, the three of them left the deserted island together and flew over the boiling lava sea towards Evil Spirit Island. In less than a day, the outline of the pitch-black Evil Spirit Island with thick smoke billowing out of it was already visible to the three of them. Chapter 850. Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu took away a large number of evil spirits to cover for Linger. They wanted to help Linger, but there were too many evil spirits here. They could only lead away a large number of them, and the rest was up to Linger. Unfortunately, not long after, Linger, who had snuck into Evil Spirit Island, caught up from behind. No, that thunder spirit is at Extreme Star Realm. It is not weak to begin with. Plus, the formation on Evil Spirit Island is too strong. I cannot stay hidden for too long. I cannot devour that thunder spirit. After returning, Linger shook her head and said, if you cannot devour it, then forget it. You are already at Extreme Star Realm. That thunder spirit is not that useful to you. Big Sister Gu said. If I could devour that thunder spirit, it would definitely be of great help to me. But, that thunder spirit is too strong, and we are on Evil Spirit Island. I have no choice but to give up. Linger said helplessly. Then let's go back first. Xiaoling Yu said. No rush. Let's kill a few more Extreme Star Realm evil spirits and let Sister Linger stabilize in the Extreme Star Realm. Big Sister Gu said. And so, Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu set up a powerful killing formation on a small island not too far away from Evil Spirit Island. Then, Big Sister Gu and Linger went to attract a group of evil spirits, killing all of them, including 3 Extreme Star Realm warriors. After Linger digested all of the evil spirits, the 3 began to head towards the exit of Demon Abyss Hell. Linger was already at Extreme Star Realm. Whether it was devouring power or refining power, she had made great progress. She could not only digest the Extreme Star Realm evil spirits herself, but it would also not take too long. The entrance to Demon Abyss Hell was huge, so it was naturally easy to find. The black smoke here limited everyone's vision and spirit sense, but it did not make them lose their sense of direction. As long as a cultivator had a sense of direction, they would not get lost in a certain place. If it was just Big Sister Gu and Xiaoling Yu, it would have taken them a few hundred years to find the exit. However, with Linger, who was a special existence with extremely sharp senses, the 3 of them took less than 100 years to get out of the abyss of hell. It was also because the area of the exit of the demonic abyss hell was too big that those astral-reaching realm warriors who had been chasing after the 3 before could not wait for them to show up. To completely seal off the exit of the demonic abyss hell would require too many people. After leaving the demonic abyss, the 3 of them rested for a while before heading towards the new city. Before they reached the new city, a sword light suddenly shot out from the side. The sword light was extremely powerful, and its speed was also very fast. In an instant, it had already arrived in front of him. Big Sister Gu's realm was high and her reaction speed was fast. With a wave of her sleeve, she threw out a jade talisman. The jade talisman instantly collided with the sword light and exploded at the same time. You guys made me wait for so long. What Xiaoling Yu and the other two did not expect was that Sword 4, who had been forced back by them earlier, would actually block in front of them again. You still haven't given up. Big Sister Gu sneered. Of course, Sword 4 would not give up. In the previous battle, he had used up the life-saving trump card that his master had left for him. If he did not gain anything, wouldn't it be too much of a loss? Sword 4 did not reply. Instead, his face was ashen. He looked calm, but the long sword in his hand was already humming. He did not make a move immediately. He just stood in front of Xiaoling Yu and the other two with his sword. Do it, he's waiting for help. After Big Sister Gu reminded him, the long whip appeared in his hand again and he lashed it out. At this moment, Linger had already disappeared. Xiaoling Yu took out the Tai Chi diagram and first stabilized her defense. Then, she took out the Shen Yuan sword and also slashed out a chaotic sword light. Sword 4 was no longer as domineering as before. When he saw Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu attack and saw that Linger had disappeared, he actually slashed out a sword light to block. Then, he decisively retreated. He had no intention of fighting Xiaoling Yu and the other two to the death. However, he had only retreated less than 10,000 feet before he stood still in the air again. He kept slashing out sword light while being vigilant of his surroundings. Sword 4 was guarding against Linger. Unfortunately, he did not expect that Linger was no longer the same as before. Just as Sword 4 stood still, Linger had already appeared behind him and opened the Netherworld Heavenly Eye. Linger had advanced from the Nirvana realm to the Astral Pinnacle realm. Her strength had increased tremendously, and the power of the Netherworld Heavenly Eye had also doubled. Previously, the Netherworld Heavenly Eye could only weaken Sword 4's strength by 30%. Now that it was used on Sword 4 only had 10% of his battle strength left. Sword 4 had been forced to use his life-saving trump card by Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu with 70% of his battle strength. Now that he only had 10% of his battle strength left, it practically caused him to regress from the mid-stage of the Astral Pinnacle realm to the early stage of the Astral Pinnacle realm. Under the bombardment of the 8 purple gold dragons formed by Big Sister Gu's whip, Sword 4's defensive sword aura was easily destroyed. Then, a chaotic sword ray first blew up his sword-wielding arm, followed by a destructive blood ray that blasted his head. His strength had been weakened too much, causing Sword 4 to be unable to dodge Big Sister Gu and Xiaoling Yu's attacks. The destructive bloody light blasted his head and soul, and he lost his life beside the entrance to the abyss of hell. Sword 4 originally thought that with his own strength, he could hold on for a while. After all, the previous battle had given him some understanding of Xiaoling Yu and the other two's strength. But how could he have imagined that in such a short period of time, the other party's strength had actually improved by leaps and bounds? So, he ended up tragically with his body and soul destroyed. Xiaoling Yu did not stand on ceremony. She took all of Sword 4's belongings. Then, Big Sister Gu increased her speed to the maximum, and the three of them quickly left this battlefield. Not long after Xiaoling Yu and the other two left, several cultivators with long swords on their backs flew to this battlefield. They all had puzzled and angry expressions on their faces. From the time Sword 4 sent the message to the time his soul jade tablet shattered, it was not even 100 breaths of time. Could it be that he encountered a top powerhouse? But didn't the top powerhouses all go to the ancient road of stars? There will always be a few who don't dare to go. Even if Great Sage Sun went, didn't he come back? But Sword 4 was waiting here just for those 3 from the Shao clan. How could he have provoked a top powerhouse for no reason? Those 3 from the Shao clan definitely could not have killed Sword 4 in such a short period of time. Sword 4 is no weaker than a late-stage astral realm expert. The few cultivators with swords started to discuss, but they were unable to deduce the actual situation. In the end, the conclusion they came to was, this matter still needed to be considered at length. The biggest suspect was still the Shao clan. Xiaoling Yu and the other 2 had already returned to the new city. The cultivators and city guards in the city did not have any strange expressions when they saw them. After all, the commotion in the abyss of hell was only witnessed by a few powerhouses, and only those few powerhouses knew that the Tushita Palace had appeared. After they returned, they would not spread the news. Most of them only knew that Great Sage Sun had stolen the treasure of the Tushita Palace. Very few cultivators knew that it was Shaolin Yu who had obtained the 8 trigrams furnace. The new city was bustling as usual, and the city guards were still doing their best to patrol. The Shao clan's courtyard was very peaceful. Miaoling and the other girls were accompanying their children, playing in the spacious and beautiful courtyard. Miling was overseeing the Shao clan's side courtyard. After he had advanced to the astral realm, his prestige in Shao Wei's heart had also increased by a lot. Even if Shaolin Yu was not at home, Shao Wei still had to act according to Miling's mood. After returning home, Shaolin Yu invited Anya to a quiet room alone. When Anya came out, her face was full of joy. This was because Shaolin Yu had given her the sword Nascent Soul, Starlight Swordfire, and longsword she had obtained from Sword 4. With these things that Sword 4 had left behind, Anya had hope of advancing to the astral realm in a short period of time. Sword 4 was Saber 9's senior brother, and they both cultivated the heavenly sword technique. Anya had been Saber 9's disciple for a period of time. Back then, Saber 9 had also taught Anya the heavenly sword technique. Anya had been quietly cultivating it for many years, so she was able to refine the benefits that Sword 4 had left behind. However, if Anya were to bump into the Sword Pavilion's experts in the future, she might be recognized by Sword 4's senior and junior brothers. Just as Big Sister Gu had expected, even though they knew that Shaolin Yu had obtained the 8 trigrams furnace and that Shaolin Yu had returned to the Shao clan's courtyard, the 4 top organizations did not come looking for them. They only sent more city guards around the Shao clan's courtyard. They claimed that they were patrolling, but in reality, they were spying on and monitoring the Shao clan. The clan master had returned, but the Shao clan's main gate was still closed all day. Initially, sounds of fighting could be heard coming from the Shao clan's courtyard from time to time. Now, it was completely silent. Under Shaolin Yu's instructions, Shao Wei and the others went into closed-door cultivation. Even Miling was no exception. Meanwhile, Shaolin Yu continued to receive Big Sister Gu's teachings on alchemy. At the same time, she continued to refine the 8 trigrams furnace. As for the true Samadhi fire in the 8 trigrams furnace, Shaolin Yu, who had yet to reach celestial extremity, could not touch it. Only by refining the 8 trigrams furnace could she borrow its power to use the true Samadhi fire. Linger had just attained celestial extremity. After returning, she went into closed-door cultivation to comprehend and research methods that were suitable for her cultivation. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of years had passed. Anya had already successfully refined the benefits left behind by Sword 4. Linger had also made a breakthrough in her comprehension of methods. Even Lu Jian, who had obtained the Starlight Extreme Fire, had relied on his own solid cultivation foundation to attain celestial extremity. Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Gu had yet to come out of closed-door cultivation. The art of alchemy was broad and profound. Big Sister Gu had studied it for countless years. Naturally, Shaolin Yu could not digest it all in a short period of time. Furthermore, refining the 8 trigrams furnace was not an easy task. Refining the Star Dome pill was not easy. Furthermore, Big Sister Gu only had one set of materials. She could not afford to be careless. However, everyone only waited for another few thousand years. Shaolin Yu and Big Sister Gu finally came out of closed-door cultivation. They chose a secluded place in the Shao family's courtyard and built a high platform. Then, they set up a formation around the high platform. Then, they placed the 8 trigrams furnace on top of the high platform. The preparations for alchemy were complete. Alchemy needed to be completed in one go. After all, Shaolin Yu had yet to reach celestial extremity. Thus, he prepared many pills that could restore her power. In addition, there was a lot of light green liquid. He felt that she should be able to last until the end. Let's begin. You must remember one thing. In the process of refining the star dome pill, you need to let the 8 trigrams furnace continuously absorb the power of the stars and merge it into the pill. If there is even the slightest delay, you will fail. Chapter 851. During those years of preparation, Xiaoling Yu had already used countless pills to practice his hand. From low grade to mid grade, to high grade, and even top grade pills, he had successfully concocted them, using countless materials. Only after confirming that Xiaoling Yu had the ability to concoct top grade pills did Big Sister Gu let him try to concoct the Star Dome pill. Xiaoling Yu had already refined the thousands of materials needed to concoct the Star Dome pill. Now, he only needed to put them into the 8 trigrams furnace. After all, it was a top grade pill. Concocting the Star Dome pill was extremely difficult. Even with sufficient preparation and the assistance of a top-grade pill furnace like the 8 trigrams furnace, there was still a high chance of failure. As long as there was a slight mistake in the control of the fire, as long as there was a slight pause in the process of gathering the star power, as long as Xiaoling Yu's pill concoction seals or fire control technique were slightly negligent, there were too many possibilities that could lead to failure. Only by completing the entire concoction process perfectly and smoothly could one succeed. Under normal circumstances, an alchemist would need at least 3 sets of materials to refine such a top-grade pill to guarantee success, not to mention that Xiaoling Yu had never refined a star sky pill before, so Big Sister Gu did not have the slightest experience to teach him. This attempt was a bit risky, but Big Sister Gu didn't want to wait too long. She had no other choice. After checking his preparation and condition again and confirming that there were no problems, Xiaoling Yu nodded at Big Sister Gu. Big Sister Gu then activated the restriction array around the high platform, supporting Xiaoling Yu's condition. She also urged the Samadhi True Fire in the 8 trigrams furnace to show its power. One by one, the prepared materials were thrown into the 8 trigrams furnace by Xiaoling Yu. The furnace's windows also began to emit bursts of fire. Not long after, under the guidance of the 8 trigrams furnace, the residents of the new city looked up at the sky. They could all see specks of starlight shining in broad daylight. Looks like there's a late-stage astral realm expert cultivating, or an expert who just reached the late stage. The astral realm experts in the city all thought to themselves. Stars in daytime was an ability that only late-stage astral realm experts had. Starlight shone as the star power continuously gathered towards the Xiao family's courtyard. The astral-reaching realm warriors in the new city deduced that the Xiao family had a late-stage astral-reaching realm warrior. However, when everyone thought of the Xiao family's wealth and the Xiao family's performance at the auction, they felt relieved. How could such a rich and powerful family not have any experts? Just as Big Sister Gu had said, the most important part of refining the star sky pill was to gather endless star power into the pill. This process was not short, and it consumed a lot of energy. It required the alchemist to persevere until the end. If Xiaoling Yu himself was an alchemist at the late stage of the star realm, then it would have been easy for him to hold on. Unfortunately, he was not. However, he had the 8 trigrams furnace. He only needed to activate the 8 trigrams furnace to gather the power of the stars. However, the 8 trigrams furnace was an innate spirit treasure level pill furnace after all. The true Samadhi fire was sealed inside. Xiaoling Yu activated the 8 trigrams furnace and the true Samadhi fire. Therefore, Big Sister Gu set up a restriction array around the 8 trigrams furnace. Xiaoling Yu still had a large amount of high-grade pills to recover his energy. If he really could not recover, then he would directly drink the light green liquid. What made the residents of the new city extremely surprised was that the stars in daytime actually continued. Moreover, at night, the stars in the sky were clearly brighter than before. The astral realm experts in the city were even more shocked. They were very clear that even a late-stage astral realm expert could not maintain the stars in daytime for too long. However, 3 months had already passed, and the new city could still see the stars in daytime. The vast and mighty star power was still gathering towards the Xiao family's courtyard. What was that late-stage astral realm expert of the Xiao family doing? Could it be that he was cultivating some extremely powerful divine ability? A portion of the astral realm experts with slightly higher realms felt that being able to maintain the stars in daytime for so long was not something a late-stage astral realm cultivator could do. The person casting the technique in the Shao family's courtyard should be a peak-stage astral realm expert. The experts who had personally seen Shaolin Yu collect the 8 trigrams furnace at the entrance of the demonic abyss speculated that the expert casting the technique in the Shao family should be Great Sage Sun, who had given the 8 trigrams furnace to the Shao family. Thinking of Great Sage Sun's tyrannical strength and strange temperament, many experts who had planned to enter the Shao family to investigate gave up on this idea. The stars and daytime spectacle lasted for close to a year in the new city before finally stopping. For some reason, the residents of the new city let out a long sigh of relief. It was as if under the stars and daytime, there was a huge mountain pressing down on their shoulders. After all, the residents of the new city were mostly Nirvana realm cultivators. The gap between them and the astral realm experts was too great. Towards this kind of divine ability that only late-stage astral realm experts could use, they were filled with fear and confusion. At this moment, Shaolin Yu, who was casting the technique in the Shao family's courtyard, although his face was haggard and pale, he also felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his shoulders. He had finally endured the most difficult process of gathering the star power. However, the amount of pills and light green liquid consumed was also immeasurable. Through the window of the 8 trigrams furnace, Shaolin Yu could clearly see that a fist-sized liquid shining with countless specks of starlight had formed. This was the core embryo of the star sky pellet. Shaolin Yu then took out the sky dome mysterious spirit essence and carefully placed it into the 8 trigrams furnace, allowing it to fuse with the core embryo. Next was to use the power of the true samadhi fire to refine it, making the medicinal power purer and the pill more stable. During this process, it was the easiest for problems to occur. This was because the temperature of the refinement was sometimes high and sometimes low. It required precise control. Big Sister Gu and the rest of the Shao family were all staring at the 8 trigrams furnace on the high platform. Right now, everything depended on Shaolin Yu. They could no longer provide any support or help. Shaolin Yu's control of the true samadhi fire required the help of the 8 trigrams furnace. However, even if he had already refined the 8 trigrams furnace, he might not be able to control the true samadhi fire as he wished. Thus, he needed to borrow the power of the restriction array around the high platform to help him adjust the temperature of the true samadhi fire. He did not know much about the true samadhi fire, so he could not control it well. However, he could completely control the restriction array. With the help of the restriction array, the refinement process could proceed smoothly. Under the burning of the true samadhi fire, the core embryo continuously condensed and shrunk. It went from the size of a fist to the size of an egg, then from the size of an egg to the size of a date. When the core embryo was the size of a peanut, the refinement of the star sky pellet was considered to have reached the final step. Next, Shaolin Yu took out a jade box and opened the layers of restrictions around the jade box. As soon as the jade box was opened, a glaring light instantly illuminated the entire Shao family's courtyard. It was currently midnight. However, there was a dazzling light in the Shao family's courtyard that shot into the sky, causing the cultivators who were still walking in the city to raise their heads to look in shock. A dazzling mist slowly rose from the jade box. It was the star spirit, an indispensable and important material for refining the star sky pellet. Its value was not lower than the sky dome mysterious spirit essence. The star spirit was not sent into the 8 trigrams furnace. Shaolin Yu moved it to the mouth of the 8 trigrams furnace. Then, he opened the 8 trigrams furnace with a seal. As soon as the 8 trigrams furnace was opened, a burst of fire also shot into the sky. The powerful aura released from the 8 trigrams furnace immediately swept in all directions, destroying all the restriction arrays around the high platform. Fortunately, there were these extremely powerful restriction arrays. Otherwise, the entire Shao family's courtyard would have been razed to the ground under the impact of this aura. Along with the fire, the star sky pellet's core embryo also rushed out. As soon as it came out, the misty star spirit immediately wrapped around it. Under the star spirit's wrapping, the core embryo slowly floated into the air. Xiaoling Yu fiercely drank a large mouthful of light green liquid and then urged the 8 trigrams furnace to draw the power of the stars in the sky. The star spirit could also draw the power of the stars, and its speed was not slow. Under the combined effect of the star spirit and the 8 trigrams furnace, the vast and mighty power of the stars rushed over. The stars in the sky became even brighter, and the vast area around the new city directly turned from night to day. The more powerful it was, the more the powerhouses who did not know what was going on felt their hearts palpitate, and the more they did not dare to approach the Xiao family's courtyard. The core embryo rose to a height of 10,000 feet from the ground before stopping. It was incomparably dazzling, like a blazing sun. Moreover, it was crazily swallowing the power of the stars that were rushing over. As long as the cultivators of the new city were not in closed-door cultivation, they were all in their own courtyards or on the streets, looking up at the bright and dazzling ball of light in the sky above the Xiao family's courtyard. Only a few star realm powerhouses with higher realms could see that there was a core embryo in the ball of light. They finally realized that the Xiao family was refining a top-grade pill. However, the star sky pellet was in existence from a long time ago. Many of the star realm powerhouses today did not know about the existence of the star sky pellet. Even if they knew, they would not dare to believe that the Xiao family had the ability to refine the star sky pellet. From the time it took to refine the pill and the commotion it created, everyone could imagine that this pill was definitely not simple. Therefore, some powerhouses had the idea of snatching it away, and they all moved closer to the Xiao family's courtyard. They did not make a move in advance, so as to avoid ruining the pill's refinement and causing it to fail. They waited patiently. Big Sister Gu also knew that the refinement of the star sky pellet would attract powerhouses to fight over it, so she was naturally prepared for this. At this moment, she was setting up a formation near the star sky pellet, and Linger had been hiding near the star sky pellet. The core embryo floated in the air above the Xiao family's courtyard for 20 hours before the star spirit absorbed an immeasurable amount of star power and merged into the core embryo. At this point, the star sky pellet could be considered to have been refined successfully. It was also at this moment that dozens of star realm powerhouses soared up together and flew towards the star sky pellet with their fastest speed. Ha! It seems to be the star sky pellet. The taste is definitely not bad. Old son, will taste it first. However, what the cultivators who wanted to snatch the star sky pellet, as well as Big Sister Gu and Xiaoling Yu, never expected was that Great Sage Sun had actually arrived above the Xiao family's courtyard at some unknown time. Before Linger could even touch the star sky pellet, he actually grabbed the newly refined star sky pellet and directly stuffed it into his mouth. Chapter 852. At this moment, Big Sister Gu wanted nothing more than to rip out Great Sage Sun's tendons, skin him alive, and then grind his bones to dust. Even so, it might not be enough to quench the hatred in her heart. After so many years of hard work and a large amount of time and energy, although the star sky pill was successfully refined, it was stuffed into Great Sage Sun's mouth at the last moment. How could she not be angry? The experts who were preparing to snatch the star sky pill immediately turned around and retreated when they saw Great Sage Sun's figure. In any case, the star sky pill wasn't theirs to begin with, so it didn't matter if they couldn't obtain it. They even felt a sense of schadenfreude in their hearts. If they couldn't obtain a treasure, wasting it was better than letting it be used by other cultivators. This was a kind of morbid mentality, but it truly existed in the hearts of these cultivators with extremely high realms. Great Sage Sun waved his Rui Jingu Bang and slowly landed in the Xiao family's courtyard from the sky, his face full of pride. Linger and Big Sister Gu landed after him, gnashing their teeth in hatred. If Great Sage Sun's strength wasn't so much higher than everyone else's, perhaps even Xiaoling Yu would have rushed up to fight him to the death. Why are you all looking at me, old son, like that? Great Sage Sun sat on a stone stool in the courtyard with a smile on his face, as if he was very surprised. Great Sage, that star sky pill is completely useless to experts at your level, how can you? Big Sister Gu stepped forward and questioned. At least the taste is quite good, Great Sage Sun said with a smile. You! Big Sister Gu was so angry that her body was trembling. "Let me ask you, what do you want the star sky pill for?" Great Sage Sun asked. "Of course, to advance to the peak of the late astral realm stage." Big Sister Gu replied. "What are you going to do after you reach the peak of the late astral realm stage?" Great Sage Sun asked again. "Go to the ancient starry sky path." Big Sister Gu replied truthfully. "That's right. After I eat this star sky pill, you don't have to think about sending yourself to your death anymore." Great Sage Sun casually waved his hand and continued, "To tell you the truth, more than half of the experts who went to the ancient star road have fallen. Even an expert like this old sun almost died there. If it weren't for this old sun's quick reaction and quick escape, it would have been impossible for me to escape the ancient star road alive." Hearing Great Sage Sun's explanation, Shaolin Yu felt a little better, even though Great Sage Sun had the intention to quibble. "Even if I die, I have to go and take a look," Big Sister Gu said firmly. "Are you also doing this for that illusory legend?" Great Sage Sun asked curiously. "No, I just want to accompany my husband." Big Sister Gu shook her head. "Flying together, dying in the same grave. This is indeed worthy of envy and admiration." Great Sage Sun nodded and pondered for a moment. Then, he opened his mouth and spat out the star sky pill into his palm. He continued, "Go. After you die, there will be experts above to build a tomb for you." Big Sister Gu didn't hesitate and immediately took the star sky pill from Great Sage Sun's hand. Her expression was extremely excited. Regaining what she had lost, Big Sister Gu really looked like she was crying tears of joy. "Let me give you one last piece of advice. The ancient star road is filled with death. There are many dangers that you can't even imagine. Now, Ancestral Master Hongjun has brought countless experts from the world of immortals, but they have only traveled halfway. Moreover, they don't even know what awaits them at the end of the ancient star road." Great Sage Sun said sincerely. "I have made up my mind. Even if I die, I want to be with my husband." Big Sister Gu said firmly. This sincere feeling moved Shaolin Yu's family, especially Shaolin Yu's wives. They could understand Big Sister Gu the most. If Shaolin Yu went to the ancient star road, they would definitely live and die with her. Great Sage Sun didn't persuade Big Sister Gu anymore. Instead, he looked at Shaolin Yu and said, "You have to improve faster. Otherwise, Ancestral Master Hongjun won't be able to wait for you." "Wait for me? Wait for me for what?" Shaolin Yu asked in surprise. "They are playing a big game of chess. You should be the most important chess piece." Great Sage Sun said bluntly. "I am not used to being a chess piece for others. I hate it when others control my fate." Shaolin Yu said noncommittally. "If your fate is really controlled by others, that person is definitely not Ancestral Master Hongjun. Although he is not strong to that extent." Great Sage Sun continued, "I guess that someone else is using you as a chess piece. That person's strength is very abnormal. It is very likely that he is the target of Ancestral Master Hongjun and other experts. That person wants to use you to do something, but Ancestral Master Hongjun has seen something in his divination, so he has been making arrangements to destroy the other party's plan. He is using all kinds of tyrannical means to oppose that person, making that person's plan constantly change. You are the key, so you have to go to the ancient star road." Shaolin Yu frowned, and her expression was not very good. "Do you know why I rushed down this time?" Great Sage Sun asked. Shaolin Yu naturally shook her head. "In order to control some unstable factors, such as the evil spirit demon lord who will break out soon, some tyrannical existences in the depths of the Tianqing forest, such as you." Great Sage Sun sighed. Great Sage Sun sighed, "Alas, the opponent on the ancient path of the starry sky is too strong, and he has too many arrangements. I think he is simply toying with us. In this game of chess, we are all chess pieces. We seem to have covered the board, and we seem to be very active, but in fact, we are all in his calculations. He can take our lives at any time, just like Emperor Qing and Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. They are so powerful, but they fell just like that. Why do we have to fight? Xiao Yu asked puzzledly. If we don't fight, we will always be in the chess game. We will always be chess pieces and ants. If we fight, we may have a chance to jump out of the chess game and really take control of our own fate. This is the legend that I don't know if it really exists or not. That chess game might just be a figment of everyone's imagination. Everything is either real or fake. I, old son, don't have the brain to think about it, so I might as well kill my way back from the ancient path of stars. As long as I can live a carefree and happy life, it's fine. When I came down, Hong Jun ancestor insisted on giving me a few tasks. That old guy gave me some advice, so I can't not help him. It's really annoying. Great Sage Sun seemed very depressed, and his thoughts were a bit complicated and contradictory. Hearing this, Xiao Yu's heart was a little heavy. To be honest, he knew that there was only death on the ancient star road, but he had never thought of going up. But according to Great Sage Sun, it seemed that he had to go up. In the future, there would be various reasons to force him to go to the ancient star road. How could he be relaxed? Hong Jun ancestor asked me to remind you that after you reach the extreme star realm, you must go to the Haotian ruins as soon as possible. If you are late, you will be in big trouble. You and your family may die. Great Sage Sun said seriously. Haotian ruins? Xiao Yu didn't understand. The Haotian ruins are in the southeast corner of the Immortals' mainland, near the sea. I am not very clear about the specific location. When the time comes, you can go look for it yourself. I think you have a way to find it. Great Sage Sun said vaguely. Xiao Yu indeed had a way. Now that Linger was in the extreme star realm, his ability to search for treasures or the ruins of powerhouses had increased a lot. I have delivered the message. I am leaving now. Great Sage Sun stood up, and then said, Don't doubt Hong Jun ancestor's words. His divination ability can calculate the secrets of heaven. Even I have to admit that. If you don't take it seriously and go to the Haotian ruins too late, it will be too late for you and your family to die. It will be too late for regrets. After Great Sage Sun finished speaking, he flew directly to the sky of the new city, and soon disappeared. Is the monkey's words credible? Jian Wanchang asked in a low voice. It should be credible. As far as I know, although Great Sage has a casual temperament, he never lies. As for whether Hong Jun ancestor's divination is reliable or not, I don't know. However, I think that Hong Jun ancestor's divination shouldn't be wrong. He also won't deceive us. Big Sister Gu replied. Let's take one step at a time. Xiao Yu said helplessly. Big Sister, about going to the ancient starry sky road, shouldn't you reconsider? Anya asked kindly. You don't need to persuade me. If I can't accompany my husband, what joy is there in life? Big Sister Gu waved her hand and replied. Then, she went into seclusion alone to take the star sky pill. After Great Sage Sun left, the Xiao family went through a period of relatively peaceful days. One night, this peace was finally broken. After a dozen or so astral realm experts knocked on the Xiao family's door, they actually forced their way through Xiao Wei's obstruction and directly rushed into the Xiao family's courtyard. The Xiao family's alarm immediately sounded. However, the city guards who usually patrolled the streets around the Xiao family's courtyard were nowhere to be seen. After hearing the alarm from the Forbidden Array, Xiao Yu, Linger, Big Sister Gu, Miling, and Lu Jian all rushed to the entrance at the first moment and blocked the dozen or so astral realm experts. These dozen or so astral realm experts all used magic to hide their faces and auras. It seemed that they didn't want to openly enter the Xiao family. You all are hiding your heads and tucking your tails. What do you want to do by forcing your way into my Xiao family's private residence? Xiao Yu asked with narrowed eyes. The dozen or so astral realm experts didn't answer. They moved very quickly and surrounded the Xiao family's people. Sword Pavilion, Star Pavilion, you guys call yourselves top-notch forces in vain. How can you do such sneaky things? Big Sister Gu asked with a cold smile. We aren't cultivators from the Sword Pavilion or Star Pavilion. A astral realm expert couldn't help but defend himself. Humph. Then show your true faces. Big Sister Gu's mind moved. An incomparably tyrannical aura immediately swept out and enveloped the entire area in an instant. That tyrannical aura wreaked havoc in the area. It actually destroyed the magic that the dozen or so experts used to hide their auras and faces. The dozen or so cultivators on the other side were shocked. Then, someone shouted, and they all released their chi and quickly rushed over. "You're courting death." Big Sister Gu coldly snorted. What was surprising was that the stars in the sky suddenly brightened. Moreover, they were slowly moving in the sky. Moving the stars? Not good, she's an astral realm expert. Chapter 853. While the stars in the sky were slowly moving, they continuously released a torrent of star power. The boundless star power instantly enveloped the entire Shao clan's courtyard. Under the control of Big Sister Gu's technique, the incomparably dense star power turned into mountains, pressing down on the heads of the dozen or so astral extremity realm experts. The stars in the world of immortals' starry sky stopped moving after a few moments. At this time, their position was very mysterious, clearly in the shape of an array. Using one's thoughts to move the stars, using one's thoughts to make the stars in the sky arrange an array, this was the supreme divine ability of a peak astral extremity realm expert. It was a divine ability that cultivators below the peak of astral extremity realm could only look up to. This was the ultimate realm of the world of immortals. Only by reaching this realm could one understand its power. Those dozen or so astral extremity realm experts had a powerful aura a moment ago, but now, they were all trembling, unable to move their bodies. Even if they wanted to escape, they had no chance. In front of a peak astral extremity realm expert, these dozen or so astral extremity realm experts felt that they were too weak. The cultivators in the new city once again raised their heads in shock. First, they were stunned to see the spectacle of the stars in the sky, then they saw the strange array of stars in the sky. Their hearts were shocked beyond words. Scram! If you disturb the Shao clan again in the future, I will kill you without mercy. Although Big Sister Gu's words were said to the dozen or so astral extremity realm experts, the sound waves were supported by the array in the starry sky, surging through the entire city. Most of the cultivators in the new city heard this sentence. Not long after this sentence was said, everyone discovered that the star array in the starry sky disappeared. Everyone easily guessed that the expert who moved the stars was an expert from the Shao clan. Before the construction of the new city, everyone had never heard of the Shao clan. However, after the construction of the new city, the Shao clan repeatedly brought great shock to everyone. First, the city lord mansion owed the Shao clan 50 billion sun crystals. Then, the Shao clan repeatedly spent a large amount of money in the grand auction. Then, the Shao clan caused the year-long stars in daytime. Now, even a peak astral extremity realm expert appeared in the Shao clan. What exactly was the Shao clan's background? After Big Sister Gu finished speaking, the astral energy mountain pressing down on the heads of the dozen or so star extremity experts suddenly disappeared. The heavy pressure was suddenly released, and their blood and chi circulated faster. They couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, and their bodies flew backwards one by one. After stabilizing themselves, the dozen or so star extremity experts didn't dare to linger for even a moment longer. They didn't even have time to recuperate before they all left the Shao family's courtyard. We should kill them all. Jiang Lanchang said angrily. If we kill them, our Shao clan will definitely become like fire and water with the Star Pavilion and the Sword Pavilion. Big Sister Gu shook her head and said, after all, I'm leaving. The Shao family can't afford to offend these two top forces too much. If we don't kill these guys this time, they won't suffer too much loss and won't hate the Shao family too much. In addition, with the deterrence we gave them today, they won't dare to touch the Shao family in the short term. They don't know that I'm leaving. Perhaps because she was still worried about the Shao family's safety, Big Sister Gu waited in the Shao family for a while. Just as Big Sister Gu expected, After the Star Pavilion and the Sword Pavilion confirmed that the Xiao family had a peak star extremity expert overseeing it, they didn't dare to act rashly. The Xiao family in the new city were very peaceful. Only the cultivators in the city kept discussing the Xiao family. During this period of time, Big Sister Gu didn't stay idle. With her peak star extremity cultivation, she set up layers of restrictive arrays in the Xiao family's courtyard and the Xiao family's side courtyard. Big Sister Gu took out and used up the countless high-grade transcendent artifacts and materials she obtained in the past. Now, even if a large group of star extremity experts attacked the Xiao family, it would be extremely difficult for them to break through the Xiao family's restrictive arrays in a short period of time. Even if the restrictive arrays were broken through, there was still an extremely advanced transportation array in the restrictive arrays. It could send the Xiao family cultivators thousands of miles away in an instant. After setting up these things, Big Sister Gu left behind all the treasures that she wouldn't need in the future. Only then did she quietly leave in the middle of the night. Big Sister Gu left in the dead of night without saying goodbye to everyone. Her leaving like this proved that she was somewhat reluctant in her heart. She was afraid that once she said goodbye, she wouldn't be able to resist staying behind. In a small courtyard in the new city, several sword pavilion experts with long swords on their backs sat together. Their expressions were very gloomy. The Xiao family really does have a peak star extremity expert. It seems that Old Fourth was killed by this peak star extremity expert. I don't think so. When the Tushita Palace appeared, that woman also made a move. At that time, she was only at the middle star extremity stage. She couldn't have stayed in the Devil Abyss for a few hundred years and suddenly reached the peak star extremity stage, right? We still have to investigate Old Fourth's death a bit more before we can conclude. However, we can be sure of one thing now. The pill that the Xiao family refined before was the Star Sky Pill. The Star Sky Pill that can allow a star extremity expert to directly possess the ability to move stars? That's right. That woman must have taken the Star Sky Pill to have such a huge improvement. But wasn't that pill eaten by Great Sage Sun? Although Great Sage Sun is a glutton, how could he casually eat such an important pill? If that's the case, then Great Sage Sun returned the Star Sky Pill to the Xiao family. He must have some relationship with the Xiao family. After all, he gave the 8 trigrams furnace to the Xiao family before. That woman who just reached the peak star extremity stage in Great Sage Sunday. With these two existences, the Xiao family really can't be casually touched. But they are the biggest suspects in Old Fourth's death. The reason Old Fourth died was because he wanted to steal other people's treasures. This matter can't be discussed openly. Not only were the Sword Pavilion experts discussing this, but the Star Pavilion, Sea Pavilion, and Thunder Pavilion, the 3 peak forces, were also focusing their attention and discussion on the Xiao family. Moreover, they were using their enormous forces to investigate the origin and background of the Xiao family that had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. They quickly found the Gourd Island in Gourd City. They found out that the Xiao family's patriarch, Shaolin Yu, used to be a spirit awakening master in the Spirit Awakening Tower. Back then, he even had to force his way out of Gourd City and had almost failed. They couldn't find much information about the Xiao family, but they could find a lot of information about Big Sister Gu. Especially the Star Pavilion, they knew Big Sister Gu very well. They also knew about Big Sister Gu's husband. After finding this information, the big shots of the 4 peak forces fell silent. Even if they guessed that Big Sister Gu would go to the ancient starry sky path after taking the Star Sky Pill, they didn't dare to do anything to the Xiao family. After all, the Xiao family had Great Sage Sun, who had just killed his way back from the ancient starry sky path. Great Sage Sun was an existence even more terrifying than a peak star extremity expert. Just as the various factions were paying attention to the Xiao family, Shaolin Yu led more than 100 Xiao away and left the new city through the teleportation array. Because they left using the teleportation array, no one knew that they left, and they couldn't track them. In an instant, they were tens of thousands of li away from the new city. Shaolin Yu led the Xiao away into the alms-shaped flying treasure left behind by Big Sister Gu and headed towards the Star Forest. The Xiao family was already in the limelight. Currently, the four peak forces didn't dare to touch the Xiao family, but who knew when they would make a move? The Xiao family naturally couldn't just sit there and wait for death. They also couldn't completely rely on the defensive array left behind by Big Sister Gu. Xiaolingyu was very clear that unless they were strong enough to intimidate the four peak forces, they couldn't be truly safe. Big Sister Gu had already left, and Great Sage Sun obviously couldn't be a guard for the Xiao family. The Xiao family could only rely on their own people. Concocting another Star Sky pellet in a short period of time would allow the Xiao family to have a peak Star Realm expert. This was something that was extremely difficult to accomplish. Therefore, the Xiao family would have to have a few more Star Realm experts. Especially Xiaolingyu himself, he had to reach the Star Realm as soon as possible. Thus, hunting Star Extremity Realm heavenly beasts in the Star Forest was the best choice for the Xiao family to quickly expand their ranks of Star Extremity experts. Xiaolingyu's wives were the same as Myling in the past. They all had the foundation to reach the Star Extremity Realm. What they lacked was the Star Extremity Realm, and this could only be solved by using the life jewels of Star Extremity Realm heavenly beasts. After flying for more than 10 years, the alms-shaped treasure entered the Star Forest. It didn't stop, but continued to fly towards the depths of the forest. After flying for another 1,000 years, Xiaolingyu put away the alms-shaped treasure. The Star Forest was really too vast. Even with the alms-shaped treasure, it would still take a long time to fly into the depths of the forest. First, they chose a valley surrounded by several large mountains to stop. Then, Xiaolingyu set up a large formation. With this formation as the center, everyone started to search for traces of Star Extremity Realm heavenly beasts in all directions. The 100 or so Xiao Wei were divided into 10 small teams. They moved separately, and each team's speed wasn't very fast. With their current battle power, as long as they didn't encounter Star Extremity Realm heavenly beasts or a large group of heavenly beasts, they wouldn't be in any danger. If they encountered these two special situations, they would decisively retreat. However, if they were too unlucky and encountered extremely fast Star Extremity Realm heavenly beasts, or extremely powerful heavenly beasts, they might not be able to escape. The best result would be to hold on until reinforcements arrived. The worst result would be that they would all be killed. Everyone was prepared for this. The Xiao family allowed them to cultivate without any worries, and naturally required them to take risks when necessary. However, the Xiao family had promised that the Xiao family would do everything in their power to help every Xiao Wei reach the Star Extremity Realm. The huge temptation of becoming a Star Extremity Realm master made them willing to take risks. This place wasn't the true dangerous depths of the Star Forest. The probability of encountering extremely powerful heavenly beasts wasn't high. However, because this place was very close to the core area of the Star Forest, ordinary heavenly beasts didn't dare to come too close. Therefore, there were very few groups of heavenly beasts here. After waiting for nearly 100 years, an Star Extremity Realm heavenly beast was finally attracted by one of the Xiao Wei teams. This Xiao Wei team had gone out with 10 cultivators, but only 3 returned. They had lost more than half of their team, and even these 3 were heavily injured. After this extreme astral realm heavenly star beast entered the spell formation, it was even more ferocious than before. Unfortunately, under the attack of the spell formation and the sneak attack of Linger, who was hiding within the spell formation, it quickly lost its life, leaving behind a life pearl for Xiaolingyu. Chapter 854. Obtaining the life pearls of 2 extreme star beasts had actually cost Xiao Wei almost half of his life force. Xiaolingyu's brows furrowed and didn't relax after that. Although Xiao Wei's group was skilled in battle formations, even if they couldn't defeat any extreme star realm cultivator or heavenly star beast, they wouldn't lose too much. However, once they encountered an extreme star realm existence, their battle formations wouldn't be of much use. After all, they had fought too few extreme star realm experts, and they lacked experience in fighting against extreme star realm experts. If they hadn't obtained some light green liquid from Xiaolingyu before they left to quickly recover, their losses would have been even greater. Although their previous method was very efficient, reality proved that it was too risky, and the price they had to pay was too great. From Lu Jian and Yu Ran's expressions, it could be seen that they didn't think it was worth it to lose so many brothers in exchange for 2 extreme star realm heavenly star beasts' life pearls. For cultivators, the most precious thing was their lives. Xiaoling Yu could also sit in this valley and wait for the extreme star realm heavenly star beasts to deliver themselves to him. However, this required not only luck, but also a long time. Even if Ling Er went out to attract extreme star realm heavenly star beasts, although it would be safe, it would still take a long time. If they wanted to quickly obtain the life pearls of extreme star beasts, it would be extremely difficult to do so without paying a huge price. With the 2 extreme star realm heavenly star beasts' life pearls, Xiaoling Yu led Xiao Wei's group back to the new city on the round bowl-shaped flying magic treasure after 1,000 years. On the way back, Xiao Wei's group had already recovered from their injuries, but their expressions were still very heavy. If the family had still sent them out to attract extreme star realm heavenly star beasts in the future, they suspected that they would have already lost their lives before reaching the extreme star realm. Most of the Xiao Wei that died were relatively weak. The remaining 50 or so Xiao Wei were all at the early stage of the Nirvana soul realm or higher. Xiaoling Yu gave the 2 extreme star beasts' life pearls to Anya and Miaoling, because not only did they have a special cultivation method and talent, but they were also in the true Nirvana realm. All they lacked was the realm. After obtaining the extreme star beasts' life pearls, they would be able to reach the extreme star realm even faster. Most importantly, once Anya and Miaoling reached the astral extreme realm, they would possess strength far surpassing the ordinary early-stage astral extreme realm warriors. After reaching the astral extreme realm, they would definitely be much stronger than Miaoling, who had reached the astral extreme realm earlier. Xiaoling Yu had to make up for Xiao Wei's losses. It was up to Miaoling, Lu Jian, and Yu Ran to find suitable choices in the new city. However, this time, Xiaoling Yu put forward 2 strict requirements. If they wanted to join the Xiao family's guards, not only did they have to be in the true Nirvana realm, they also had to accept his soul restriction. Although these requirements were harsh, Xiaoling Yu's treatment was extremely good. The most important thing was that the Xiao family guaranteed that every cultivator who joined Xiao Wei would be able to safely reach the extreme star realm. It turned out that the Xiao Wei who had already joined and hadn't died, as long as they were willing to accept the soul restriction, they would also receive the same treatment. Most cultivators weren't willing to accept the soul restriction because they weren't fated with the Xiao family. However, even if only a few cultivators were willing to accept it, the number of Xiao Wei members quickly increased to 100. After Xiao Wei made up for the 100, Xiaoling Yu led them out of the new city. It took them 1,000 years to reach the depths of the heavenly star forest. Just like last time, Xiaoling Yu first chose a valley to set up a formation. However, he didn't let Xiao Wei go out to attract extreme star beasts. Instead, he set up many formations around the valley to gather moon energy and yang energy. The Xiao Wei members were only responsible for guarding the formation outside the valley. They couldn't let ordinary heavenly star beasts destroy them. On the way back and on the way here, Xiaoling Yu had been researching a formation that could quickly gather star energy. It was still based on the mysterious formation that gathered moon energy. The formation hadn't been carved out yet, but a formation with the same effect was gradually appearing in Xiaoling Yu's mind. He researched in this valley for another few hundred years. During this time, countless heavenly star beasts that hadn't reached the extreme star realm were attracted to this place. After they entered the valley, they were all easily killed by the formation. After Xiaoling Yu obtained thousands of Nirvana realm heavenly star beasts' life pearls, he finally set up a formation that gathered star energy. A magic circle that could gather the energy of the lunar sun should not be able to attract the heavenly star beasts of the extreme astral realm. After all, they relied on absorbing astral power to increase their cultivation. Therefore, Xiaoling Yu thought of setting up a magic circle that could gather astral power. Setting up just one formation wouldn't be very effective. Thus, Xiaoling Yu used this valley as the center and set up a formation that gathered star energy in 8 different directions. Perhaps it was because of the uniqueness of the star power, but the effect of the star power gathering formation was not very powerful. It could only gather star power twice as fast as an astral extreme realm warrior. However, even if it was twice as fast, it would still be extremely tempting for an astral extreme realm warrior. Xiaoling Yu didn't know if this formation would work, but he had to try. If it didn't work, then he could think of other methods. After waiting for more than 2,000 years, and collecting countless Nirvana realm heavenly star beasts' life pearls, an extreme star beast was finally attracted to this place. That extreme star beast was next to a formation 10,000 miles away. It didn't destroy the formation, but instead cultivated within it. Xiao Wei and the others had been standing guard at the side of the valley, while Ling, Lu Jian, and Mi Ling had been roaming around near the magic arrays that were 10,000 li away. They were there to protect the safety of those magic arrays, and also to bring the extreme star beasts to the side of the valley when they found them. After receiving Miling's message, Xiaoling Yu told the Xiao Wei outside the valley to hide, and sent a message to Linger and Lu Jian. Soon, Miling brought that extreme star beast and rushed into the valley. Xiaoling Yu was in charge of controlling the magic array, while Mi Ling, Lu Jian, and Linger, who had rushed back later, were in the middle of the magic array, coordinating with the magic array to attack. This extreme star realm heavenly star beast lasted for almost 2 hours before collapsing, leaving behind its life pearl. Previously, I spent a lot of time and energy to receive Big Sister Gu's guidance on the Tao of formations. It seems like it was worth it. Since ancient times, anyone who had achieved a high level in the Tao of formations could get whatever they wanted. Xiaoling Yu praised sincerely. Seeing that their family had finally found a safe method to kill heavenly star beasts, the Xiao Wei and the others were all very happy, and their hearts relaxed a lot. An astral extreme realm heavenly star beast's life pearl, combined with a star pole magnet or a star fire, could easily create a true astral extreme realm warrior. Just having a heavenly star beast's life pearl was not enough, but every extreme star beast also had a brilliant star fire. Although it was a demonic fire, if it was refined, it could also be used by cultivators. However, refining the heavenly star beast's demonic fire was a bit dangerous, and the chances of failure were very high. Regarding this, the Xiao family, who was rich and had the Tao of formations, still had a safe way to solve this problem. It was nothing more than investing more capital and energy. For a long time, the few top forces of the world of immortals had been using the method of killing extreme star beasts to maintain and strengthen their own extreme star beasts. This time, after obtaining a total of 10 extreme star beasts' life pearls, Xiaoling Yu brought everyone back. Nearly half of the Xiao Wei had just joined, and their cooperation was not very good. They also did not completely understand the battle formation Xiaoling Yu taught them. Therefore, on the way back, Xiaoling Yu had everyone continuously fight with heavenly star beasts below the extreme star realm, using this as a way to train their battle techniques and strengthen their cooperation. Just as they were about to leave the heavenly star beasts forest, the team led by Lu Jian sent a distress signal. This was already the outskirts of the heavenly star forest, and the possibility of encountering extreme star beasts was not high. Although Lu Jian did not say it clearly in the message, Xiaoling Yu could guess that they would not encounter extreme star beasts, but extreme star beasts. Moreover, there should be more than one extreme star beasts. The Xiao Wei was divided into 4 teams by Xiaoling Yu. For the sake of safety, Xiaoling Yu, Miling, Lu Jian, and Ling each led a team. Moreover, the 4 teams were not too far away from each other. In addition, everyone had originally planned to gather together and fly with the round bowl as soon as they left the heavenly star forest. Therefore, in less than 100 breaths of time, Xiaoling Yu, Miling, and Ling, who were rushing at full speed, had already found Lu Jian. What made Xiaoling Yu angry was that of the 25 Xiao Wei led by Lu Jian, there were only 10 left. The other 15 had already died in battle. Lu Jian's opponents numbered over 40. They were all dressed in the same way, and were also in a battle formation. They were clearly veterans, and none of them were weak. Among them, there were even 3 extreme star beasts. So it's the same clan's cultivators. No wonder they surrounded Lu Jian. Xiaoling Yu could tell the origins of the opponents from their attire. At this moment, Ling Er, who had long since hidden himself, suddenly appeared in front of the Sang clan's experts. A large amount of nebula fog immediately covered the entire battlefield. "Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive." Xiaoling Yu and Miling also charged into the battlefield. After hearing Xiaoling Yu's angry shout, Ling Er, Lu Jian, and Miling each charged towards a Sang clan's extreme star beasts expert. Xiaoling Yu rushed in front of the 10 Xiao Wei, in charge of protecting them. Not long after, the other 3 teams of Xiao Wei also rushed over. They surrounded the Sang clan's cultivators apart from the 3 extreme star beasts experts. Under Xiaoling Yu's leadership, the extreme star beasts battle became a one-sided slaughter for the Xiao Wei. Xiaoling Yu then soared into the air, quickly flying to Lu Jian's side. After all, Lu Jian had just reached the extreme star beasts realm not long ago. He was already heavily injured. If not for Xiaoling Yu and the other 2's timely support, he might have already lost his life under the attacks of the 3 extreme star beasts. Although Xiaoling Yu didn't have an extreme star beast's cultivation, his battle prowess was definitely not weaker than an early-stage extreme star beast's. He also had the speed and physique of a mid-stage extreme star beast's. Adding on the fact that Lu Jian, who was heavily injured but still angry, they worked together to firmly suppress their opponents. Chapter 855. After Ling Er killed his opponent, he immediately went to support Miling. He used the nebula fog to cause the opponent to lose his sense of direction, and then used the netherworld heavenly eye to weaken his battle prowess. Similarly, he easily killed another extreme star realm expert of the Sang clan. The last extreme star realm expert of the Sang clan saw that the situation was not good. Just as he was about to shake off Lu Jian and Xiaoling Yu, he was enveloped by a black and white light. Under the cover of that black and white light, this Sang clan expert was unable to raise his speed at all. His entire body was unable to circulate smoothly. Soon after, he was struck by Xiaoling Yu's destruction bloodlight, heavily injuring him. Miling and Ling Er charged over. It was like 4 extreme star realm experts attacking together. The last Sang clan expert only lasted for 10 breaths of time before dying on the spot. The black and white light that left the opponent behind at the last moment was released by the Taiji diagram. It was one of the Taiji diagram's abilities to trap the opponent. Its power was the same as the Taiji diagram, and would increase as Xiaoling Yu's strength increased. The extreme star realm experts of the Sang clan were all killed. Their storage treasures, Starlight Extreme Fire, and corpses were all sealed by Xiaoling Yu and stored away. Xiaoling Yu was not stingy. He gave 3 balls of Starlight Extreme Fire to 3 Nirvana Realm experts who were not far from the Extreme Star Realm. He also took out 3 Life Pearls of Extreme Star Beasts and gave them to the 3 lucky Xiao Wei. In this way, it would not be long before the Xiao clan gained 3 more Extreme Star Realm experts. After returning to the new city, Xiaoling Yu gave the remaining 7 Life Pearls of Extreme Star Beasts to Jiang Lanchang, Jiang Lanyue, Qing Xian, Yueru, Xiao Bing, Devourer of Heaven, and Yu Ran. Xiaoling Yu had them try to refine the Starlight Extreme Fire left behind by the Heavenly Star Beasts. As for the corpses of the Extreme Astral Realm Heavenly Beasts and Sang clan cultivators, they were given to Miaoing by Xiaoling Yu, so that she could use them to refine the blood flute and improve its abilities. After Miaoing used her secret technique, she finally reached the Extreme Star Realm. Less than 100 years after Miaoing had advanced to the Extreme Star Realm, Anya, who had refined everything left behind by Sword 4, had also successfully advanced to the Extreme Star Realm with the help of the Heavenly Star Beast's Life Pearl she had obtained previously and the support of the Xiao clan's endless resources. And now, Xiaoling Yu's 6 children were also at the peak of the 9th heaven of the Longevity Realm. They were only one step away from advancing to the realm of the body puppet. After giving everyone a period of time to rest and cultivate, and peacefully passing through several tens of thousands of years, when her children successively broke through to the realm of the body puppet and stabilized in this realm, Xiaoling Yu once again felt at ease and brought Xiao Wei through the teleportation formation to leave the new city. He believed that when he returned, Jiang Lanchang, Jiang Lanyue, Qing Xian, Yueru, Xiao Bing, and the Devourer of Heaven would definitely have already reached the extreme star realm. It still took close to 1,000 years before Xiaoling Yu brought Xiao Wei deep into the heavenly star forest to find a suitable place to set up a formation. They set up a few formations to gather astral energy in the surroundings, and quietly waited for the extreme star beasts to deliver themselves to their doorstep. Xiaoling Yu oversaw the sealing formation, while Linger, Miling, and Lu Jian were responsible for wandering between the formations, angering the attracted extreme star beasts and bringing them to the sealing formation. Originally, in Xiaoling Yu and Big Sister Gu's plan, they recruited these Xiao Wei to help Xiaoling Yu hunt extreme star beasts. But now, Xiao Wei had become the extreme star master that Xiaoling Yu intended to cultivate. Xiaoling Yu didn't need Xiao Wei to take the risk to hunt extreme star beasts. She only focused on turning all of them into extreme star realm experts, and then made them into the Xiao clan's loyal and powerful guards. Only when the Xiao clan had more than 100 extreme star realm experts could the Xiao clan truly stand firm in the world of immortals. Even the 4 top forces wouldn't dare to underestimate them. Unless it was a peak star realm expert like Big Sister Gu, the Xiao clan wouldn't need to fear anyone in the future. This time, Xiaoling Yu didn't plan to return in a short period of time. After waiting in one place for a few thousand years and harvesting a few extreme star realm star beasts' life pearls, she brought Xiao Wei to set up another formation. This repeated for a dozen times, and after spending close to 100,000 years and harvesting close to 100 extreme star realm star beasts' life pearls, an accident finally occurred. 3 extremely powerful extreme star realm star beasts were brought into the sealing formation by Linger. Unfortunately, these 3 star realm star beasts, which looked almost the same on the outside, could be grouped together. Not only did they have an extremely powerful defense, they also had an extremely powerful attack. Xiaoling Yu's sealing formation was practically useless against them. Xiaoling Yu decisively gave up on the sealing formation. Taking advantage of the fact that the 3 star realm star beasts couldn't break out of the sealing formation for a while, he brought Xiao Wei and the others and quickly retreated, flying out of the star realm forest at full speed. Not even 2 hours after Xiaoling Yu brought Xiao Wei and retreated, the 3 star realm star beasts broke through the sealing formation that no one was controlling. Then, they chased after Xiaoling Yu and Xiao Wei. Xiaoling Yu and Xiao Wei had all retreated, but Linger remained behind. She hid her figure and followed the 3 star realm star beasts, occasionally sending messages to Xiaoling Yu. With Linger's reminders from behind, Xiaoling Yu brought Xiao Wei and constantly changed directions. But what surprised him was that no matter how they changed their path, the 3 star realm star beasts continued to follow behind them. The Xiao clan had more than 100 experts on this trip. Including Xiaoling Yu, they had 4 extreme star realm star beasts. Their opponents only had 3 extreme star realm star beasts, but Xiaoling Yu felt that they were still not a match for their opponents. This was because one of the 3 star realm star beasts was at the late stage of the star realm, while the other 2 seemed to be at the middle stage of the star realm. However, Xiaoling Yu estimated that they were not far from the late stage of the star realm. Their opponents had the advantage in terms of cultivation level, so naturally, they had the advantage in speed as well. Xiaoling Yu brought Xiao Wei and advanced for another 2 hours, but the distance between them and the 3 star realm star beasts was getting closer and closer. Seeing that they would be caught up soon, and that they could not shake off their opponents no matter what, Xiaoling Yu decided to fight. He quickly found a small valley, and quickly set up a sealing array. Then, he gave some instructions to Miling, Lu Jian, and Xiao Wei. Ever since Xiao Wei had been formed, this was the first battle they were going to face. It would definitely be an extremely difficult and dangerous battle. Just as the battle plan was set up, the 3 star realm star beasts had already caught up. Because Xiaoling Yu and Xiao Wei were both inside the array, the 3 star realm star beasts could only charge into the sealing array. Linger followed behind them and also entered the array. Linger, you are responsible for restraining that star realm late stage star realm star beast. You must delay it for as long as possible. Miling, Lu Jian, each of you lead 50 Xiao Wei. Each of you will restrain one star realm middle stage star realm star beast. I will control the ceiling array to coordinate with you. Everyone, remember one thing, you must separate the three of them. As long as they are separated, they cannot be allowed to gather together again. For this, you must pay any price. Xiaoling Yu gave a few more instructions. Then, everyone followed his instructions and quickly charged towards their targets. The 3-star realm star beasts gathered together. Starlight surged out from their bodies, forming an extremely sturdy defensive light barrier. This defensive light barrier could help them block the bombardment of the ceiling array for a long time. Moreover, they continuously spat out beams of starlight from their mouths, which could pierce through the fog of the array and shake its foundation. Their defense and attack were equally powerful. This was their advantage. Linger quickly rushed in front of the Star Realm Star Beast that was performing even more eye-catching. Her entire body began to release waves of dense nebula fog, causing the 3-star realm star beasts to lose their sense of direction. Then, she opened the netherworld heavenly eye between her eyebrows and used a powerful devouring power on that star realm star beast, causing its condition and strength to decrease. Lu Jian and Miling's movements were not slow either. Soon after, they each led 50 Xiao Wei and charged towards their respective targets. Xiaoling Yu took out the Taiji diagram. With a thought, the diagram flew above the head of one of the Star Realm Middle Stage Star Realm Star Beasts. It then cast down circles of black and white light, binding that Star Realm Middle Stage Star Realm Star Beast. At the same time, he also controlled the ceiling killing formation to bombard the area where the 3 heavenly star beasts were gathered. From time to time, he would also release the destructive bloody light to bombard the area. That late Star Realm Heavenly Star Beast's power and condition had decreased, and it seemed to be extremely violent. It kept opening its mouth and shooting out beams of star power to attack Linger. However, even though its beams of star power pierced through Linger's body, they were unable to cause too much damage to Linger. Linger's body was covered in a dense fog, and his body that seemed to have been injured immediately recovered. The other 2 heavenly star beasts in the middle stage of the astral realm were also continuously fighting back. Lu Jian, Miling, and the other Xiao Wei did not have a special body like Linger. Facing the attacks of the astral light beams, they could only defend together. This caused the momentum of their attacks to be interrupted. However, although the black and white light cast by the Tai Chi diagram could not completely trap that middle stage heavenly star beast, it still weakened its attacks by a lot because it had to penetrate the black and white light screen. It also made its movements less agile, and with its power decreased by a lot, it was gradually unable to withstand the attacks of the 50 Xiao Wei led by Lu Jian. In addition to the bombardment of the ceiling killing formation and the heaven's eye of destruction, the 3 heavenly star beasts were finally separated. According to Xiaoling Yu's previous orders and arrangements, Lu Jian and Miling braced themselves and led Xiao Wei forward, surrounding the 2 separated middle stage heavenly star beasts. Xiaoling Yu quickly moved the Tai Chi diagram to trap and restrict that late stage heavenly star beast, making it unable to cause any damage to the 2 groups of Xiao Wei. Then, he made the ceiling killing formation automatically focus all of its power on the middle stage heavenly star beast that Lu Jian was facing, while he himself rushed to Miling's side with the Xianyuan sword. The power of this ceiling killing formation was definitely not weaker than an all-out attack of a normal middle stage heavenly star realm cultivator. With its help, the pressure on Lu Jian was immediately reduced by a lot. His and the 50 Xiao Wei's attacks were also more destructive and powerful. Chapter 856. Linger's netherworld heavenly eye had already greatly weakened that late-stage astral extreme stage heavenly beast. Adding on the restriction of the Tai Chi diagram, no matter how berserk that heavenly beast was, it couldn't unleash much of its power. Without being able to increase its speed, it couldn't escape Linger's heavenly eye technique's devouring power, nor could it escape the restriction of the Tai Chi diagram. However, Linger in the Tai Chi diagram could only restrict that late-stage astral extreme stage heavenly beast, but they couldn't kill it at all. Late-stage astral extreme stage heavenly beast's defense was just too strong. If they wanted to win this battle, separating the three heavenly beasts was only one of the necessary methods. Xiaoling Yu and Xiao Wei still needed to kill one of the mid-stage astral extreme stage heavenly beasts as soon as possible. Right now, both teams of Xiao Wei had the upper hand. As long as they kept attacking like this, the two heavenly beasts definitely wouldn't be able to last much longer. The two mid-stage astral extreme stage heavenly beasts seemed to have realized this as well. After holding on for a while, they began to madly attack the two teams of Xiao Wei, attempting to regroup and increase their battle power. Block them! We have to block them! Xiaoling Yu loudly reminded the Xiao Wei. Xiaoling Yu, Meiling, and Lu Jian all personally blocked the two heavenly beasts' attacks. The rest of the Xiao Wei also continuously moved over to help. Beams of astral power, accompanied by waves of ferocious aura, rushed over. Even if Xiaoling Yu and Xiao Wei managed to block them, they would still suffer quite a bit of damage. Although Xiaoling Yu and the other two were doing their best to block the attacks, the astral power beams and the attacks of the heavenly beasts' bodies still caused the Xiao Wei to be continuously injured. One by one, the Xiao Wei were blasted away or knocked into the air. Afterwards, those who could still fight immediately returned to the bloody battle. Those who couldn't fight immediately drank a mouthful of light green liquid to quickly recover. The Xiao Wei's fighting spirit was completely ignited. At this critical moment, if they did not fight with all their might, not only would they be looked down upon, they would also have no hope of escaping alive. When enemies met on a narrow path, the courageous would emerge victorious. Right now, the battle was to see who was more courageous. The three heavenly star beasts were already fighting with their lives on the line. How could Xiao Wei and the others be careless? Moreover, everyone knew that there were nearly 100 extreme star beasts' life pearls in the family head storage treasure. Whether or not these life pearls would be given to them would depend on the family head's attitude. Perhaps if they showed a bit more enthusiasm and bravery in this battle, the family head would reward them with a life pearl when they returned, giving them the capital to reach the extreme star realm. The intense battle lasted for nearly 2 hours. The heavenly star beast, which seemed to have gone berserk, finally collapsed after being struck by the blood-red annihilation once again. It didn't die, but it appeared to be very weak. Its entire body was lying on the ground, its tongue stretched out as it gasped for breath. Its forelimbs were still twitching slightly. It was very obvious that it was completely exhausted and could no longer hold on. Seeing this, the Xiao Wei and the others were all overjoyed. Their fighting spirit was even higher. They also knew that if it weren't for the light green liquid that the family head had given them, they would have collapsed even earlier than the heavenly star beast. If it weren't for the light green liquid, Xiaoling Yu wouldn't have been able to continuously bombard the heavenly star beast with his Xianyuan sword. He wouldn't have dared to risk being injured by the Xianyuan sword. When the other two heavenly star beasts saw their comrade collapse, they became even more berserk. However, Xiaoling Yu had already ordered Meiling and the 50 Xiao Wei to surround and attack them. The pressure on them was even greater than before. It was impossible for them to come and rescue their comrade. Xiaoling Yu didn't show any mercy. He waved his Xianyuan sword and killed the heavenly star beast that had already collapsed. He then sealed its corpse, its life pearl, in the starlight demonic flame. The other heavenly star beast, under the joint attack of the 100 Xiao Wei and 3 other heavenly star beasts, only lasted for 100 breaths of time before collapsing as well. Then, it was killed by the Xianyuan sword. Everyone's attention was focused on the last late star extreme stage heavenly star beast. Without waiting for everyone to attack together, this heavenly star beast, who had sensed the danger, suddenly raised its head to the sky and roared. That roar pierced through metal and stone, shaking the space and time. Although it carried with it a ferocious aura, there was also a hint of sadness. The roar lasted for 10 breaths of time. During this time, the stars in the sky appeared. Starlight flooded the sky like a tide, but it was blocked by the sealing array. Even if some of the star power surged in, it couldn't penetrate the black and white light of the Taiji diagram and enter the heavenly star beast's body. After the roar, this heavenly star beast, whose strength had been greatly weakened, was still glaring angrily. Its face was ferocious, but its aura was much weaker. Hurry up and attack. That roar just now should be it asking for help. After Shaoling Yu reminded everyone, he attacked with his heavenly eye of destruction. Miling, Lu Jian, and the other Xiaowei also attacked one after another, each attacking the heavenly star beast within the black and white light. That black and white light only had defensive power on Shaoling Yu. When facing an enemy, it only trapped the enemy and limited the enemy's attacks from the inside out. However, it didn't limit the enemy's attacks from the outside in the slightest. After everyone attacked with all their strength for the time it took to brew a cup of tea, this late astral realm heavenly star beast was finally worn to death. If it had known that there was a special existence like Linger among the enemy, and that there was also a natural spiritual treasure like the Taiji diagram, it probably wouldn't have pursued so relentlessly. Without the slightest hesitation, after cleaning up the battlefield, Shaoling Yu once again took out the round flying magic treasure, carrying the exhausted Xiao Wei and the others towards the new city at full speed. Several decades after Shaoling Yu left with Xiao Wei, a large group of astral realm heavenly star beasts arrived in an aggressive manner. This large group of heavenly star beasts numbered close to 10,000, and among them, there were actually close to 1,000 astral realm heavenly star beasts. Moreover, their formation was orderly, and their movements were uniform. With such a large group, they were able to maintain silence even when they stopped moving. It could be seen that they were an extremely disciplined group of elites, and not a group of stragglers randomly put together. At the very front of this large group of heavenly star beasts, there were two heavenly star beasts that weren't in the formation. They were clearly the heavenly star beasts that led the group. One of them looked exactly the same as the three heavenly star beasts that Xiao Wei and the others had killed before. However, it was clearly larger in size, and there was a king character on its forehead. In the world of immortals, only a very small number of experts who were very familiar with heavenly star beasts knew that this heavenly star beast with the king character on its forehead was a beast master, the most powerful existence in the heavenly star forest. Even in the entire world of immortals, it could be considered one of the top experts. As for the other heavenly star beast that led the group, it was shaped like a pangolin. There were strips of scales on its back, and there were even 7 colored spots on the scales. If Shaoling Yu was still here, she would definitely be able to recognize that it was a glutton. To be able to stand side by side with Beastmaster, it could be seen that gluttons had a very high status in the heavenly star forest. The 3 heavenly star beasts that were killed before looked very similar to Beastmaster. From this, it could be inferred that even if they weren't Beastmaster's descendants, they were most likely of the royal bloodline. Beastmaster looked around, and then a magic staff appeared in one of its front paws. The magic staff was about 4 feet long, and it looked like it was formed by coiling dragon roots. At the top, there was a resplendent gemstone with countless water chestnuts. Beastmaster waved the magic staff in front of him, and immediately, a field of light appeared. Those light spots first scattered in all directions, and not long later, they gathered together again, and gradually condensed into a light screen. What was surprising was that at this moment, on the light screen, there was actually the image of Shaoling Yu, Miling, Linger, Lu Jian, and the other Xiao Wei. Beastmaster angrily waved the magic staff to disperse the light screen, and then it pointed the magic staff towards the outside of the heavenly star forest. Roar! Beastmaster let out a long roar that sounded like the roar of a dragon and the roar of a tiger. The close to 10,000 heavenly star beasts behind it also roared in unison, and then they all charged towards the outside of the heavenly star forest. First, the stars in the daytime appeared, and then the stars in the sky actually slowly moved. The star chart in the sky also seemed a little distorted and disorderly. This elite army of heavenly star beasts charged towards the outside of the heavenly star forest at an extremely fast speed. As they advanced, regardless of whether it was day or night, there would always be stars shining above their heads. Furthermore, the stars in the starry sky were constantly changing positions, and waves of star power that could be seen with the naked eye continuously scattered down from the starry sky. Large amounts of dense star power formed a dense nebula that enveloped them, and the scene was extremely spectacular. The round bowl-shaped flying magic treasure had just flown out of the Heavenly Star Forest for less than 10 years, and it was still close to 10 years away from the new city. The elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts also charged out of the Heavenly Star Forest, and also headed straight for the new city. However, the news of the elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts charging out of the Heavenly Star Forest had already spread to the new city. After all, their movements were not concealed at all, and it was not difficult to discover them. The cultivators in the vicinity of the new city were already in a state of panic. The experts of the 4 apex forces were also unceasingly reinforcing the new city's defensive formation, and unceasingly requesting for reinforcements from other places. Everyone was guessing the intentions of this elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts. Right now, it was still not the time for the Heavenly Star Beasts to sweep through the world of immortals. This elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts charged towards the new city with a mighty momentum. However, just as they were halfway there, they suddenly stopped. According to the news sent back by the Star Realm experts who were monitoring this elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts, Great Sage Sun suddenly appeared, and ruthlessly smashed the Rui Jingu Bang, which had expanded by several tens of thousands of times, towards this elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts. After that, Beastmaster and Great Sage Sun fiercely fought, and their battle reached the starry sky. At that time, the cultivators in the new city could clearly see that the stars in the sky were chaotic, and the star atlas was already distorted to the point of being blurred. Everyone in the new city could clearly feel the chaotic surging of the star power. Some of the more knowledgeable cultivators were able to guess that this was indeed a situation that would only occur when peak Star Realm experts fought fiercely. Although Great Sage Sun took Beastmaster away, that elite army of Heavenly Star Beasts still charged towards the new city, as if they were not affected too much. Chapter 857. At this moment, the new city was already enveloped by an extremely thick defensive barrier. Under the bombardment of the star energy laser, this defensive barrier immediately trembled, and fine cracks appeared on its surface. However, as soon as those cracks appeared, they quickly disappeared. Within the new city, the experts sent by the 4 peak forces were guarding the key positions of the city, and were pouring their power into the defensive formation. While the experts were doing their best to defend, the ordinary cultivators in the new city were not idle either. They were also pouring their power into the defensive formation. If the new city was breached, no one would have an easy time. Originally, in this kind of battle, Nirvana Realm cultivators would not be of much use. However, one Nirvana Realm cultivator was practically useless. With millions of Nirvana Realm cultivators gathered together, the amount of power they could produce was not to be underestimated. However, although there were many cultivators in the new city, the number of Extreme Star Realm experts was far less than the number of Heavenly Star Beast elites. Thus, everyone could only defend and wait for reinforcements. The Shao clan's overall strength was not weak. Currently, Jianlan Chang, Jianlan Yue, Qing Xian, Yueru, Shao Bing, and the Devourer of Heaven had all reached the Extreme Star Realm. In addition to Miaoling, Anya, Miling, Lu Jian, Ling'er, Shaolingyu, and the 3 Shao Wei who had obtained the Starlight Extreme Fire and the Extreme Star Beast Life Pearl from last time, the Shao clan had more than 10 Extreme Star Realm experts. However, Shaolingyu did not let the Shao clan experts go out and fight. Instead, he had everyone obediently stay in the Shao clan's courtyard. This time, they had obtained nearly 100 Heavenly Star Beasts Life Pearls and Starlight Demonic Flame from the Heavenly Star Forest. This was enough for the other Shao Wei to have the hope of reaching the Extreme Star Realm. What the Shao Wei needed to do was to train hard and reach the Extreme Star Realm as soon as possible. The Shao clan's incomparably rich training resources were definitely not stingy to the Shao Wei. Although he had received the news long ago, the 4 top powers only had a little more than 100 astral-reaching realm warriors gathered in the new city. On the other hand, the Heavenly Star Beast Legion had 1,000 astral-reaching realm warriors. The difference in power between the two sides was just too big. Under the ferocious attacks of the 10,000 elite Heavenly Star Beasts, the new city's Great Barrier Formation was constantly cracking. It was always on the verge of collapse, but it was still holding on bitterly. The four top forces had built the new city between the demonic abyss and stellar sky forest. Naturally, they had to make the defenses of the new city impregnable. When the Great City Barrier Array was in operation, not only could it gather an endless amount of star power, but it could also guide the stars in the sky to rotate. In the sky of the new city, the starlight was exceptionally dazzling. Moreover, the stars in the sky formed a formation diagram, which also supported the Great City Barrier Array. Using the power of the formation to move the stars was the most brilliant part of the new city's Great City Barrier Array. It could be considered as a top-level formation in the world of immortals. Unless one was at the peak of astral reaching realm, they wouldn't be able to break it easily. This heavenly star beast legion didn't have a peak of astral reaching realm warrior. However, even if their beast master was tied down by Great Sage Sun, they had close to 1,000 astral reaching realm warriors. When they attacked together, their attacking power was definitely not inferior to a peak of astral reaching realm warrior. Just by relying on the power of all the cultivators in the city, the Great City Barrier Array wouldn't be able to last for too long. However, the Great City Barrier Array could still absorb the energy from the sun crystals and moon crystals, as well as the star power from the starry sky. It wouldn't be easy for the enemy to break into the city. Almost every time the Great City Barrier Array was bombarded by the enemy, millions of sun crystals would be exhausted and turned into ashes. The profits that the four top forces had made over the years in the new city would most likely be completely exhausted in this battle. Xiaoling Yu had already made up her mind. As long as the Great City Barrier Array was broken, her family would directly leave the city through the transmission array. After persevering for more than 200 years, the four top forces began to send cultivators to collect donations from all the cultivators in the city. Their wealth had already been exhausted. If they wanted the Great City Barrier Array to continue defending, they would need the generosity of the cultivators in the city. This time, the Shao clan was still very generous. They directly donated 500 billion sun crystals, which greatly encouraged the cultivators in the city. In these 200 years, more than 100 astral-reaching realm warriors came from all over the world of immortals as reinforcements. With their participation, the Great City Barrier Array became even more stable. As for the Heavenly Star Beast Legion, they had been bombarding the new city for so long. Naturally, they had consumed a lot of energy. Now, their attacking power was clearly much weaker than before. As time passed, more and more astral-reaching realm warriors came to support. Finally, the Heavenly Star Beast Legion temporarily stopped their bombardment. They gathered together, as if they were recovering their strength. What surprised everyone was that the Heavenly Star Beast Legion had waited for several hundred years before attacking the new city again. However, their numbers had clearly increased by more than 10 times. From the Heavenly Star Forest, more powerful Heavenly Star Beasts came. Now, there were more than 100,000 Heavenly Star Beast Legion outside the new city. Among them, there were at least 1,300 astral-reaching realm warriors. In the past countless years, every time the Heavenly Star Beasts rushed out of the Heavenly Star Forest, they could sweep through the rest of the world of immortals. This was because their overall strength was simply too strong. In the past, there were many peak astral-reaching realm warriors. After the Heavenly Star Beasts swept through the world of immortals, they had no choice but to quickly retreat to the Heavenly Star Forest because they were afraid of being killed by the peak astral-reaching realm warriors. But now, most of the peak astral-reaching realm warriors had gone to the ancient starry path. The Heavenly Star Beasts rushing out of the Heavenly Star Forest in large numbers was almost unstoppable. This was only the beginning. The cultivators that the four peak forces had arranged to guard the outskirts of the Heavenly Star Forest were constantly sending back information. They said that the Heavenly Star Beast Legion had arrived early. Countless Heavenly Star Beasts were rushing out of the Heavenly Star Forest, and they were all rushing towards the new city. Obviously, the new city couldn't be saved. Right now, the best choice was to open the defensive barrier before the Heavenly Star Beast Legion completely surrounded the new city. Then, the powerful warriors would lead everyone to charge out. Once the Heavenly Star Beast Legion surrounded the new city, even astral-reaching realm warriors wouldn't be able to escape easily. Right now, there were only 100,000 Heavenly Star Beasts outside. They couldn't completely surround the new city. They couldn't even block one side of the new city. It was the best time for everyone to escape. The four peak forces didn't hesitate. After assessing the situation, they decisively opened the defensive barrier. The moment the barrier was opened, a beam of Heavenly Star Beast Legion's star power lasers fiercely blasted into the new city, directly killing tens of thousands of cultivators in the new city. The cultivators in the new city rushed out from the three directions that were not surrounded by the Heavenly Star Beasts like floodwaters that had just broken through a floodgate. Then, one after another, they flew into the air and fled in all directions. There were only 100,000 Heavenly Star Beasts. It was impossible for them to kill every single cultivator in the new city. In fact, they couldn't even kill half of them. They didn't move recklessly. Instead, they directly rushed into the new city and headed straight for the Shao clan's courtyard. However, when they arrived at the Shao clan's courtyard, the huge Shao clan's courtyard was already empty. When the new city's barrier was just closed, Xiaoling Yu led the Shao clan and Xiao Wei to leave through the teleportation array. Xiaoling Yu could guess that the early outbreak of the Heavenly Star Beast Legion was most likely related to his hunting in the Heavenly Star Forest. Therefore, he also guessed that his family was most likely the main target of this Heavenly Star Beast Legion. Therefore, for the safety of his family, Xiaoling Yu directly led his family and Xiao Wei to the demonic abyss hell. Although the demonic abyss hell had a harsh environment, it was definitely the best choice for escape due to its special environment. The Heavenly Star Beast Legion didn't stay in the new city for long. They also didn't deliberately destroy the new city's buildings. Instead, after making some adjustments, they directly rushed towards the demonic abyss hell. This puzzled the cultivators who originally lived in the new city. The Heavenly Star Beast Legion that surged out of the Heavenly Star Forest didn't go anywhere else. Instead, they rushed towards the demonic abyss hell like a torrent. Linger was left behind by Xiaoling Yu. She continuously transmitted the Heavenly Star Beast Legion's movements and the Heavenly Star Beast Legion's movements to Xiaoling Yu. Through Linger's messages, Xiaoling Yu was almost certain that this Heavenly Star Beast Legion was coming for his family. Apart from the Shao clan, very few cultivators escaped to the demonic abyss hell. After entering the demonic abyss hell, Xiaoling Yu directly ordered his family to escape towards the evil spirit island based on his own experience. There were countless evil spirits near the evil spirit island, and many of them were at the extreme astral realm. If the Heavenly Star Beast Legion rushed over, they would definitely engage in a huge battle with the evil spirits. This would then divert the Heavenly Star Beast Legion's strength and attention. Just as the great sage Sun said, I have to reach the extreme astral realm as soon as possible. I also have to make a trip to the Haotian ruins. Otherwise, my family will really be in danger. Xiaoling Yu appeared to be very depressed. It wasn't because of the dangerous situation at hand, but because it seemed that the Hong Jun ancestor had predicted her situation. After traveling at full speed for a few hundred years, Xiaoling Yu finally brought his family and Xiao Wei close to the evil spirit island. They didn't rush towards the evil spirit island. Instead, they chose a small island that was still 3 days away from the evil spirit island. They set up a defensive array on this small island and let his family and Xiao Wei settle down temporarily. Even if the Heavenly Star Beast Legion dared to rush into the demonic abyss hell, they wouldn't be able to find this place in a short period of time. As for reaching the extreme astral realm, Xiaoling Yu had already thought of a method long ago. However, it might be extremely dangerous. However, which advancement was without any risk? If he wanted to reach the extreme astral realm, he had to completely complete the nirvana process. Xiaoling Yu had his own idea long ago, but he didn't dare to try it. Now that he was forced to this point, he no longer had the capital to hesitate. After Linger arrived, he carefully set up a formation and then took out the 8 trigrams furnace. Then, with the Taiji diagram's defensive light screen, he resolutely jumped into the 8 trigrams furnace. Relying on his control of the 8 trigrams furnace and the formation support, Shaolin Yu wanted to use the Samadhi true fire to complete the nirvana process. Chapter 858. Just like refining the Star Dome pill, as long as he was careless, not only would the nirvana rebirth fail, but Shaolin Yu's body would also be turned to ashes. It was also because of the experience of refining the Star Dome pill that Shaolin Yu dared to take the risk of entering the 8 trigrams furnace. Since he already had this idea, he naturally made ample preparations. Large amounts of rare materials and light green liquid, as well as countless high-quality pills, could support his entire nirvana rebirth process. During the nirvana rebirth process, Shaolin Yu also had a more important task, and that was to personally experience the Samadhi true fire and familiarize himself with it. After the nirvana rebirth, he would use the Samadhi true fire to increase the power of his primal chaos true fire and advance towards the astral extremity realm. Under the support of countless meticulous preparations, after nearly 200 years, Shaolin Yu finally came out of the 8 trigrams furnace. At this time, he had already reached the peak of the late nirvana rebirth stage, and was only a step away from the astral extremity realm. However, in reality, his strength was no weaker than the mid-astral extremity realm. Although he didn't have the cultivation of the astral extremity realm, after being tempered by the Samadhi true fire for so many years, his body's quality and speed shouldn't be weaker than the late astral extremity realm. In addition to the Xianyuan sword, the Taiji diagram, and the destruction heavenly eye, he could definitely fight against a mid-astral extremity realm cultivator without losing. Naturally, he wouldn't be satisfied with just this. His current goal was to reach the Chaos Star extremity realm as soon as possible. Thus, not long after coming out of the 8 trigrams furnace, he adjusted himself slightly and took out the life pearl of the late astral extremity realm heavenly star beast. First, if he had an extremely high cultivation, it would definitely make it much easier for him to reach the Chaos Star extremity realm. After Shaolin Yu spent nearly 100 years absorbing the life pearl's cultivation, the heavenly star beasts finally found this place. At first, there weren't many heavenly star beasts, and there weren't many astral extremity realm experts. Naturally, Shaolin Yu's family worked together with Xiao Wei and the formation to kill them on the small island. Afterwards, Shaolin Yu led his family and Xiao Wei to quickly retreat. Not only did the other heavenly star beasts hear the news come over, but it also attracted many evil spirit experts near the evil spirit island. After the heavenly star beasts and evil spirits encountered each other, they naturally started fighting. Moreover, the more they fought, the more intense they became. After flying for another 10 years, the experts of the Xiao clan finally settled down on a small island. The increase in his cultivation level gave Shaolin Yu even more confidence in breaking through to the Chaos Star pinnacle stage. He took out countless Chaos heavenly crystals and began to madly absorb the Chaos origin power within them to strengthen his cultivation. Since her soul, body, and Chaos nascent soul had been greatly improved, Shaolin Yu was able to contain and absorb even more Chaos origin force. Therefore, it wasn't dangerous for her to increase her cultivation without restraint. With the help of the chaotic heavenly crystal, it did not take long for the improvement of his skills to come to an end. The cultivation that followed was the most important part of Shaolin Yu's plan. He refined the Samadhi true fire and merged it into his primal chaos true fire. This cultivation did not require Shaolin Yu to enter the furnace of 8 trigrams again. He sent his primal chaos nirvana true fire into the furnace of 8 trigrams, then controlled the furnace of 8 trigrams and the restrictive formation that he had set up around the furnace of 8 trigrams to smelt it. He still used his soul power and blood essence as a guide. His soul power, blood essence, and chaos origin force were continuously injected into the furnace of 8 trigrams. In order to make the newly formed primal chaos true fire have the characteristics of the starlight extreme fire, he even added the starlight demonic fire left behind by a few heavenly star beasts into the furnace of 8 trigrams. This method of smelting in one pot was extremely easy to cause the various flames to clash and explode. However, with the furnace of 8 trigrams powerful suppression, they could not leak out after exploding. They could only reassemble in the furnace of 8 trigrams. Xiaoling Yu wanted them to explode continuously. After each explosion, they would reassemble along with his chaos origin force, soul power, and blood essence. This kind of explosion would allow his chaos origin force, soul power, and blood essence to merge more easily into the primal chaos true fire and act as a glue. If not for the furnace of 8 trigrams, Xiaoling Yu really didn't know how he could successfully complete this process of smelting the primal chaos true fire. However, even with the help of the furnace of 8 trigrams, he was still greatly drained. The pale green liquid was constantly being poured into his stomach. From time to time, he had to swallow a high-quality pill. If not for this, he wouldn't have been able to last until the end. Even if he could last until the end, these conditions alone wouldn't have been enough to form a new primal chaos true fire. The most important reason why Xiaoling Yu dared to try this wasn't because of the furnace of 8 trigrams. It was because of the extremely powerful black and white fire spirits in his primal chaos true fire. The black and white fire spirits had extremely strong spirituality. They could ensure that the primal chaos true fire wouldn't be extinguished no matter how many times it exploded. Furthermore, after each explosion, Xiaoling Yu provided a large amount of energy support from the outside. With the help of the furnace of 8 trigrams and the restrictive formation, the fire spirits suddenly separated and formed 2 black and white fiery vortexes in the furnace of 8 trigrams. The 2 fiery vortexes continuously collided and fused with each other. After a full 3 years, Xiaoling Yu finally stopped. Through the window of the furnace of 8 trigrams, one could clearly see a fist-sized ball of fire. The ball of fire was still a gray color formed by the fusion of black and white. However, from time to time, it would sparkle with specks of starlight. It looked even more mystical. With a thought, the furnace of 8 trigrams trembled slightly. The ball of fire floated out of the furnace of 8 trigrams and gradually floated to Xiaoling Yu's palm. With the suppression of the fire spirits in Xiaoling Yu's blood soul, this ball of extremely powerful primal chaos true fire didn't release much power. It only faintly emitted an aura that made its owner, Xiaoling Yu, feel dangerous. This ball of primal chaos true fire not only fused with the samadhi true fire, it also had the characteristics of the brilliant star fire. It could help Xiaoling Yu gather astral energy. With this and the heavenly star beast's life pearl that Xiaoling Yu had just absorbed, Xiaoling Yu now had the foundation to advance to the extreme star realm. However, what he wanted to ascend to was the extreme chaos star, not the ordinary extreme astral realm. Just having the extreme chaos star fire and a high enough cultivation level wasn't enough. He also needed to make a qualitative upgrade to his cultivation power, which was chaos origin power. His primal chaos origin power wasn't inferior to the astral energy of ordinary extreme star realm cultivators. However, to reach the extreme star realm, primal chaos origin power alone wasn't enough. Without the experience of predecessors for reference and guidance, Xiaoling Yu felt that the improvement of the quality of his energy should be the fusion of his primal chaos origin power and astral energy. Originally, this fusion was very difficult. However, his primal chaos true fire had already fused with the samadhi true fire. After absorbing the astral energy into his body, the primal chaos nascent soul would control the new extreme star fire and refine it. With the power of the extreme star fire, it wouldn't be difficult to fuse the astral energy and primal chaos origin power into primal chaos star energy. Since the evil spirits in the demonic abyss could cultivate to the extreme star realm, it proved that they could also gather astral energy in the demonic abyss. The astral energy was limitless. It was more than enough to support Xiaoling Yu's cultivation. As for the large amount of primal chaos origin power required during the cultivation process, it could be solved with primal chaos heavenly crystals. However, this cultivation process was destined to take a long time. Not only did it take time to absorb the primal chaos origin power, but it also took time to gather the astral energy. Refining it even took more time. While leading his family in Xiao Wei to avoid the heavenly star beast tide, they hid and cultivated. From time to time, they would stop to fight small groups of heavenly star beasts or evil spirits. The Xiao clan, which had more and more extreme star realm cultivators, was constantly increasing their strength in battle. The heavenly star beast tide broke out prematurely and rushed into the demonic abyss. This made the cultivators of the world of immortals very surprised. At the same time, they were secretly relieved. As for the heavenly star beast tide that rushed into the demonic abyss, a portion of them continued to search for the Shao clan's cultivators. The majority gradually gathered near the evil spirit island and fought with countless evil spirits. Although the evil spirits were not afraid of death, they did not have high intelligence. In terms of numbers, they could not compare to the heavenly star beast tide. If it was not for the fact that the environment here was advantageous to them, they would not have been able to fight with the heavenly star beast tide for too long. Even though they had the geographical advantage, the evil spirits could not hold on for too long. Before the war lasted for 1,000 years, the evil spirits near the evil spirit island were almost all wiped out by the heavenly star beast tide. The heavenly star beast tide also rushed into the evil spirit island. However, many of them were killed by the powerful restrictions on the evil spirit island. However, there were simply too many extreme star realm cultivators in the heavenly star beast tide. Their overall numbers were also shocking. Under their frenzied attacks, the restrictions on the evil spirit island, which had already loosened a lot, became weaker and weaker. The entire evil spirit island was also constantly shaking. One after another, the powerful magic treasures used to form the restrictions on the evil spirit island broke out from the ground as the evil spirit island shook. They penetrated through the thick layer of soil from the demonic abyss and rushed into the world of immortals. The appearance of these powerful magic treasures naturally attracted countless cultivators from the world of immortals to come and fight for them. Because they did not know when the next magic treasure would appear, more and more extreme star realm cultivators gathered in the world of immortals near the entrance of the demonic abyss. However, while these cultivators were fighting for the magic treasures, they were also worried. They knew that these magic treasures were originally used to form the restrictions on the evil spirit island. Now that these magic treasures had appeared, they could guess that the evil spirit demon master would appear soon. Beastmaster needed Great Sage Sun to deal with. If the evil spirit demon master appeared again, who in the world of immortals would be able to stop him? The heavenly star beast tide had wreaked havoc in the demonic abyss for tens of thousands of years before they finally rushed out of the demonic abyss. Then, they quickly returned to the heavenly star forest. Everyone did not understand why, but Shaoling Yu, who had been keeping an eye on the evil spirit island, knew that the reason why the heavenly star beast tide retreated from the demonic abyss was because of an extremely powerful shockwave that suddenly exploded from the evil spirit island. In an instant, all the heavenly star beasts near the evil spirit island were killed. At that time, there were countless heavenly star beasts near the evil spirit island. Among them, there were close to 1,000 extreme star realm heavenly star beasts. They were all killed in an instant, which naturally caused the heavenly star beast tide to suffer a heavy blow. Naturally, they had to retreat. As for that extremely tyrannical aura shock wave, whether it came from the power of the forbidden formation or from the sealed evil spirit demon lord, Ling was not sure. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.